a full face mask. I have a haircut.
To be honest, a mask would be fine. We're quite happy with that.
Just a.
As soon as we're in 4K.
Sorry.
It's a couple of years away now, isn't it?
We're not actually proper broadcasting it, so it's fine. I know.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No, this is getting edited out, so this is fine.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
It's all been gold so far.
I was going to say, as soon as we're in 4K, then I have to not be on screen, so I'll break the camera.
Right.
Oh, that's perfect timing.
Oh, they say don't.
I'm wearing a shirt related to a film. I reckon if anyone watching can guess during the live.
Well, we've got no one watching yet.
No, but I'm just saying ahead of time.
I'm wearing a shirt related to the game I've been playing.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying ahead of time. If they do, would you be willing to shave your beard completely off?
No.
Well, the trouble of that situation is that our viewers have access to Google.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that one Google search and I'll know which that shirt that's from.
It's more of a challenge that they can actually see it though, at all.
Not on that low race.
Yeah.
You can see it. I'm looking at the live stream now. You can actually see it.
In fairness, it only takes me about a week to grow a beard this long, so you know.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
On the contrary, I shaved it over a week ago.
Well, goddamn.
I shaved yesterday. I have very low fit.
I was going to say, can you actually grow fuzz?
Not really. No, a little round of here, but when it gets to there, I think it would, but it'd just take about 2 months to get anywhere.
Well,
Then just leave it for a minute. Just let it balance out.
I've never been very hairy. Round the head and, my testicles, but that's about it, really.
yeah.
Wow. So
I'm
you
hairy
did
all-
actually hit puberty then?
I'm
I did, yeah.
I'm
You've
hairy
already
all
started
over.
it. Didn't take you too long.
I've
No,
virtually,
mate, I was born with long hair and a beard.
yeah, he was. I've actually got a fleece.
I wasn't even born. I just walked out of the room.
Yeah.
Do you
blimey.
you spawned?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So 1 minute. Bam. Nailed it. Ready to go.
We established, didn't we, on a podcast that children just spawn into
They do.
existence.
They do. I don't understand how the fuck they turn up.
Try
Somehow
telling
I've got
that to a
they turn
woman
up.
and they'll punch you right in the face if you just say they just suddenly spawn.
I think Gina probably agree with us.
After 30 hours of labour, I don't think she would.
No. She probably would punch you.
Yeah.
I haven't got a girlfriend or wife, so I don't know these things.
I was going to say my
I don't think you need to have one to know that, to know that pregnant
I understand
childbirth is a bit
understand
of
how
an
it
issue.
works in pigs and sheep. I mean, but I'm assuming that we're
I think it's a little bit different.
not really.
There's a lot more wailing and screaming when it comes to bite.
There's a lot more foul language when it comes to humans.
You haven't heard
Yeah.
them squeal.
Well, I've heard both squeal quite a bit. I've seen Silence of the Lambs. I think there's a pig squeal somewhere in that movie.
A daddy pig and a mummy pig love each other very much. Have sex for half an hour. And then 114 days later, piglets arrive.
Half an hour.
baby,
Jammy
baby.
bastards.
Sour orgasms for up to half an hour.
Blimey.
And the ball will be locked into them most of the time.
There you go.
Jeez.
Good for them.
Balls can also rotate their penises.
I did hear that. I've heard that.
Yeah.
Probably from
There you
you.
go. You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Only on
Yeah.
Rand Nerds podcast.
Well,
I'm lucky we're
we've
in the last 30 seconds.
Well, so far no one's watching us, so
it's
it's
probably
fine.
good. We will now lose. If we had access to monetization, we would have just lost it.
What? Because we talk about pigs. That's scientifically, that's biology.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. People don't like biology.
I don't think if no one's watching, it really doesn't matter what
Right,
we're
people
talking about.
don't. People don't like biology, right? And they don't like physics or science. They don't like.
There's one thing that will get you kicked off YouTube now. Don't get vaccinated. There you go. I'll kick you off YouTube now.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
You don't. There's no way in hell that. Right. Ram does not believe that.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah,
If you don't get vaccinated, you're fucking retarded.
We've
You deserve to
already
be
had.
shot.
We actually had.
Don't
this
you become
discussion.
retarded if you do get vaccinated?
What was the?
No, well, 100%. Vaccines make adults, you know.
What was the? Yeah, because you don't live long enough otherwise. What was the number that we said had to be? You had to be to make sure that the people who weren't vaccinated were safe from.
It varies between viruses and disease, but it's between 95 and 98% of the population to achieve herd immunity.
That's the one. See, and he knows because he works at a farm.
All
Yes.
comes back to the farm, doesn't it?
All does come from. Not what is humanity, but a giant farm.
Exactly.
I see it as more of a giant plague, personally, but that's my
Yeah,
dark
that
view.
works too.
Yeah, you can argue that.
If you actually look at it scientifically, we do kind of spread in the same way that a virus might across the land rather than across
Are you
the
going
people.
the Mother Gaia hypothesis, where the all this global stuff isn't like man-made, it's just the Earth trying to get rid of us?
No, I believe all the scientific stuff, but I think 2 generations is probably as much as we're going to get.
There's a chopper. There you go. That's hope for your children then, Skazz. But your grandchildren, they're fucked.
Yep. I often look at my children as bad as this sounds. I look at my children and I think, oh shit, why? I go, I love you guys, but sorry.
Well, I do. Yeah, this is the world that we've been created for you.
Yeah.
We've created a world that Fallout 76 exists in.
It's just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is a thing.
Yeah.
You guys, in fairness though, you two like Smash Brothers Ultimate. So you're wrong. So this is all your
So
fault.
in
This is
the
on you.
in the
To be
grand
fair, it's
scheme
our
of
parents'
it,
generation that
in the
really
grand
fucked the planet.
yes, it is. Yeah, and then they're blaming us.
Yeah,
Kinda
and
great.
they're the ones
Yeah, it's
that
great. Yeah,
made it, you know,
yeah. I won't
fucked
listen.
it, basically.
Yeah. Anyway, on that heavy note to start the
Yeah.
podcast, this is a light-hearted podcast. We like to
Yeah,
discuss it.
look.
Anyway, evening about TheSuffolkRam.
Middlemeister.
You won't hold that any longer.
You say I do that anyway, so I'm just going to lead into it.
Skazz.
Welcome to episode 110 of the Roundness podcast.
Nope.
I'm dying, but I am on steroids now, which is great.
We'll put a number across the
I
bottom.
will
if you
point
wanna
out those
help
steroids
support
were
Nick.
given to me by a doctor, and a real doctor, not like someone from down a back alley who call themselves a doctor.
I got my license from
From
the
the
back
Time
of a
Lord.
cornflakes packet.
Yeah, you feel the foreman. Yeah, they're a doctor of archaeology, but they were a doctor. Yeah,
had a
I'm
foot.
still dying. I think these two have recovered from their various plagues.
Near enough.
Near
Getting
enough.
there, I've still got a few tickles here and there.
Yeah, so he's got a few tickles. And so welcome. I don't think we've got anyone watching yet. No, we haven't.
Have you
Christ's
checked the
sake.
Twitch chat?
I've checked Twitch chat a minute ago and there was nothing on there. Let's move a look again.
I feel very unloved
There's-
right now.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we have a viewer on Twitch. Evening Twitch viewer.
Evening. Thank God for you. Don't
Thank
leave,
you.
will you?
Yeah.
Please don't leave us.
Keep our average view time up, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Do
just
you remember
Please
once
stay.
upon a time when we did one stream one time and we had a really fucking good average? If we'd had the followers and could have repeated that like 2 or 3 more times, would have been.
Why don't we
Without
just
the
change
game.
our
Do you remember
channel name
the
to
time-
like funny cat videos?
Yeah, we
get
should done.
so much better then.
Yeah.
And call this the funny cat hour. We'll be fine.
With no cats and
We've
no
got a
funniness in
dog.
it.
We've got funny dog hour then.
Funny dog out. Well, he's asleep. He's not doing anything.
And we normally end up being 3 hours as well, so there are a
Hey,
couple of issues.
I'll have you know. So, do you remember when he went away, Skazz? How long will a podcast take us? About 50 minutes,
Yeah,
55
they're
minutes?
fucking mega quick,
He
mate.
comes back.
Yeah, but that's
and-
because there's a whole additional person talking about their stuff.
What, a whole other person adds an extra 50% onto the original broadcast?
Yes.
Yeah, actually 100% in some cases, to the original broadcast.
That's because I'm 100% better than both of you.
Dangerous words, dangerous words. So, did you set all this up then?
I supervised, which is a very important job, and I did move this a little bit.
I was going to say, so when I fuck up the audio in the edit, that's all on you.
It
mate.
is, it's his fault.
I contributed to the issues, I guess. Yeah, I'll take a little bit of blame. If I take responsibility for the greatness, I've got to take responsibility for the shortcomings.
Well, that
also.
is that's a.
Mate, speaking as a manager, you'll never go far in management with that attitude.
I don't think I am anyway.
Well, no, it's
I'm
true.
going to have to move elsewhere for that.
Yeah.
He's not willing to throw his staff under the bus.
No.
No.
Look,
Wow.
if something goes great, yes, it was all me. If something goes bad, it was him.
If
It was
anything
him.
goes wrong,
It was him.
It was the weak-willed, I don't know, heavily depressed pregnant woman. That's
Yeah.
always their fault.
Yeah.
You always pick on.
If
the
you haven't
vulnerable
got one, yeah, but you got to be careful, pregnant, because you know that's a dangerous territory.
whose
pregnant.
husband has just committed suicide. And,
Yeah, that's really dangerous
And she's just
territory.
lost a leg.
Yeah, it's not worth it. You just need to find a member of staff that no one really likes, which is why I bring Middlemeister to the podcast.
Oh, right.
And then you just go for them.
Yeah. I can't believe there were days when I didn't used to show up for these half the time.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, I can't
Strange
remember why
days.
you shocked. But then didn't you used to get more obsessed because how we used to do impressions of you when you weren't here?
That did piss me off a little bit. And
Yeah.
You diss games and films and football and things like that when I wasn't here that I couldn't defend.
Well,
as
in
well.
the
Exactly, yeah.
grand scheme, you did get a chance with Near, and you cocked it up. So
Yeah.
you brought so much to the table on that one, son.
I did find that all very funny though.
It was bad.
That was it. That was the highlight of last year for me.
Yeah, there you go.
When I did-
Podcasting achievement.
When I finally
Yeah.
get round to doing the best of, and I do the best of like 2018, that's it. That's all it's going to be.
No, it's
So
going to be
that's
like best of, and it'll be our 50th anniversary, and that'll still be at the top.
I'll
of
just
it.
come up saying, we're near, and that'll be it.
Yeah, people will be talking
The
about
near
near stuff.
discussion.
When they eventually get to the stage where Channel 4 does a top 100 moments type documentary or something that no one cares about, which means it won't be very long for us. That'll be number one. I'm not sure
Yeah.
number 99 will be because I can't think of any.
They care
But
so little about us now, we probably won't even feature on that list.
We might make it on Channel 5.
Maybe ITV2.
Yeah, I think ITV. Yeah, well, even ITV3 maybe.
That's a little bit more. Well, maybe.
Is Dave still a thing?
Dave's still a thing, yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
We might end up on Dave.
Yeah.
Useless shit.
Well, they could repeat us, couldn't they?
Yeah.
They've got, to be fair, probably got an afternoon slot. They've probably played Top Gear 4,000 or 5,000 times. They get away with repeating us a few times.
I think Top Gear is marginally more popular than we are now.
No.
Pretty sure
be
it is.
They all, Clarkson, May and Hammond watch us every week.
Yep.
They message us.
Yep.
I've never.
They don't message you.
Yeah, we don't
But
give you
I'm
access to the account.
most popular member of this group, aren't I? In my head.
I'm sorry, I'm not calling to them. I'm sorry. But every week, Clarkson says it's the best podcast in the world. Right, shall we start?
Yeah, should we talk about what games?
Should we
we've
quickly
been
call the
playing?
lawyers just in case?
What? Could I do the impression of Clarkson?
No, just because in fairness, it probably.
No,
No,
but-
see, he'd side with us because we're not vegetarians.
Once you edit, just
That's
put a
true.
disclaimer across the bottom.
Disclaimer across the bottom of the audio version.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
We're going to say this bit. This is the footnote. Clarkson did not say the following statement. Please, any views expressed by the members involved is of their own view and does not represent Rand Nerds in the greatest scheme of things.
Only Nick.
Can you edit that bit in just the right
Yes,
place?
there you go.
Thank you.
I'll think about it.
You need to speed up a little bit, though.
Just like
Yeah, it's like the radio stuff.
Rand Nerds may cause diphtheria. Sorry.
And lethargy.
Yeah. Avoid taking Rand Nerds if you're pregnant.
Rand nerds may cause vampirism.
But it's very good against insomnia.
That's great for those stubborn stains.
Yeah. Do you
I
have
often
someone you
listen to
don't
this if I
like at
can't
work?
sleep.
Please give them a link to Rand Nerds. Anyway, on to games we've been playing. I think before Skazz builds into his rap mode, I'll kick off first.
Ooh.
What are you doing at
Yay,
first?
I don't get to start. Thank fuck for that.
Well, I like to try and sort of cycle it round every so often. I try, but I can never remember who I got to do it first last
It's
time.
usually me.
Yeah, I can
90%
forget.
is Skazz.
Yeah, I always forget who
He's
I
just
do
thinking
it
to himself, he never plays any games. I'll just say, hey, Skazz. I was like, oh, well, actually, Ram, I've played 50 games this week.
Earlier on,
And he's
you
like,
never
"Oh,
did.
Shit.
My first few episodes, you hadn't played anything.
That's
Yeah,
the reason
no.
I used to bring him board because we need someone to talk about games.
Pretty much.
And I just sort of stuck around eventually.
Yeah, like a
I only come for the dog, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he's a good dog.
Yeah.
He's comfy.
Well, anyway, I got round because I suddenly realised, because obviously there's a new Far Cry out, which I'm not buying yet because it's too expensive for what it is. But
Is there?
yeah,
Oh,
it's
is
a
that
new
what
Far
that
Cry.
New
fucking
Dawn. Yeah.
Oh,
Dawn,
right,
yeah.
yeah, I've seen.
Until
Same map
I think it's
changed.
it's to me it's too for the price of charge. It's too much for at the moment, so I'm gonna wait for it to go down price for it.
It's the same thing, but post Brexit.
No, because it looks quite cheerful.
Yeah, the flowers everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks quite cheerful.
Yeah, just like Brexit.
Yeah.
After we get rid. Oh, God, I can't believe I just said that. Ugh. The European referendum.
Yeah.
I don't
Good
like
for
buzzwords.
Trawlerman, but not many other people.
Not my problem. Look,
No,
hey,
for anyone really.
if bankers and all that suffer, I'm all for it.
No, because they'll just move their banks.
Yeah.
Good. Then we can all be poor and trade stones or something. I don't know.
Well, you have to say, well, if you play Far Cry Primal, that'll give you an
Ball caps.
idea what it's going to be like afterwards, because it'll be back to the Stone Age.
Do I get a magic bird?
Yes, in Far Cry, only for the protagonist though.
Shit, well, I better make sure I'm the main character then.
You better do. You must. Yeah.
You strike me more as an antagonist,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Who do you think the main characters of Earth? You know, out of all the people on the Earth, who do you think the main character is?
Well, if you're in America, that
Donald
everyone
Trump,
thinks
yeah.
it's everyone
That's
in
true.
America.
Not the baby Jeebus.
No, he was the main character of the first sort of game, and then he sort of disappeared in waiting for the return game. But the developers won't put him in.
That's like
He's too popular.
That's, what's
Yeah.
it called? What's that game that everyone wants Valve to make? I forgot now.
Half-Life 3.
Bam! There you go. Jesus Returns.
I think that's more likely than that Half-Life 3 Jeebus returning.
Probably. I reckon Jeebus has already returned. We just haven't noticed it.
Yeah.
Well,
Who's
It's
the
like
main-
every time he's shouting about it, people think, "What's that weird guy talking about? What's that weird
that's
hairy
the
tramp
thing.
doing?"
Jesus may have returned to us like 100 years ago, but everybody didn't believe him. Yeah. It's like, oh,
All tripping balls on their magic bread and
Yeah.
mushrooms.
yeah.
I wonder if he looks anything like Christopher Eccleston. Anyone remember that? When
No.
he came back as Jeebus? That was Russell T Davis. That was top quality TV as well.
What are you talking about?
Christopher Eccleston played Jeebus coming back.
Did he?
Yeah, and that was absolutely
A
brilliant.
Northern Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from God up top.
I can't remember what it was called now. That's really, something about the second. Can't
Northern
remember.
Angel?
No, I don't think so.
Was it Northern Fiend?
Well, yeah, I guess so. But he just, he came back as Jeebus.
All right. Anyway, so I'm playing the. So I'm sorry for. Oh, hang on a second. There's some DLC for Far Cry that I bought the season pass to. I wonder if they've come out yet.
Downloadable content.
All of them. I think most of them.
I was just helping.
I hope. Yeah, I hope.
I was just helping in case. I want to hear my voice really close to the mic.
Poor Skazz. Poor Skazz.
No, that sounds really sultry.
All right, let me see if I can help you out on this. So, Far Cry 5 is an FPS
First-person shooter.
featuring.
Let's not do this. We'll be here all night.
Yeah. Anyway, so they released three DLCs for Far Cry. So, and they also tie in loosely into the Far Cry universe, the Far Cry 5 game.
Right.
So Far Cry 5 in the game.
Wait, there are 3 now.
There are 3 DLCs for Far Cry 5.
Okay. They came out quick.
They did come out. They must have come out very quick. I don't know when they came. They came out pretty quick. In Far Cry 5, there is you collect these magazines, and one's aliens themed, one's Vietnam themed, one's zombie themed.
Mm-hmm.
Your DLCs.
There's dog tags as well, isn't there?
There's dog tags. The
Vietnam.
DLCs are Vietnam, aliens, zombies. So that's like your little clues. So the first one that came out was called Hours of Darkness, and you play in Far Cry 5. There's this character called Rendell Reader.
Have you got
There's-
notes?
Mate, I've got 2 pages of notes.
He's gone well, Fish.
It's going to take a fucking while.
That's okay. I'll run through this quite quickly. You play as Rendell Reader. I've got to move this bloody mic. Why is it the mic keeps moving that way?
Because you keep punching it.
Does it feature Credence, Clearwater Revival, in the soundtrack?
No. Well, it
Not
might
good
do.
enough.
That's
then.
not Vietnam without Credence.
It might do. I don't know. Perhaps we can afford the license. Yeah, because Ubisoft ain't got my money these days.
Look, let's be fair. Vietnam is Credence.
Yeah.
Well, you basically you play when we in Far Cry. He gets you to collect these lighters. So in the DLC, you play as him during Vietnam when he was a soldier in Vietnam. And it starts with all Vietnam stuff. It's all obviously based on they are riffing a lot on Vietnam films. And it starts off with your helicopter, with your 3 mates getting shot down. All your mates, I can't remember the actual names. They've all got names like Tripper,
Dickhead.
Jock, for some Horse and Mad Guns. They've got names like that, which they all apparently had in those days.
No bollocks.
Yeah, they might. Well, accidents happen.
What do you do if you've been shot down in a helicopter?
So you shot down. You land, and you basically land. You have to fight your way out of your little Vietnam internment camp. Where you get chased by another helicopter, with Viet Cong chasing you.
Crash
Yes.
helicopter, very different. Very different from Far Cry 5. Crash helicopter.
Yes,
As a nobody.
it's Vietnam. Let's be fair. Vietnam is basically helicopters and flamethrowers.
Can we just
Yeah.
throw out there as well that Vietnam is a place, not just a war? Just
Yeah.
in case anyone hasn't
Quite
quite
a beautiful
got there
place
yet.
as well.
I would recommend you watch Top Gear's Vietnam special, because that shows you a lot of what Vietnam is nice.
Yeah. They don't mind us. It's the Americans they're not so keen on.
Yeah, they're not too fussed about us.
Yeah.
But it's so Vietnam. Helicopter crashes. You basically escape the Viet Cong camp you're in, and you make contact with your main sort of fire base. They say, right, we can't go rescue you. You're going to have to walk to the fire base to escape, and that's the other side of the map. And that's basically your job. Now, if you want, you can ignore everything else and just walk straight there.
Yeah.
And then you have your big battle and you leave, and ignore everything else, and you'll be done in about an hour. If you don't do that and actually look at what the things around you to do, then it actually takes a bit longer, obviously.
Okay.
So things you also got to escape. You've got your 3 buddies need rescuing. And
So they're
as
not
you-
dead then?
No, they're not dead. Of course they're not. You rescue them, then they become your guns for hire.
They're supposed to be your fucking mates. Get in there.
But you see, and the thing is though, if they die as a gun for hire, if they die permanently.
Good.
Unlike original Far Cry 5, where if they die, they just all respawn like 10 minutes
If
later.
they die, they just piss off somewhere for a couple of
Actually,
drinks
they don't. If they get too badly injured, they basically sort of your pilot sort of flies away. Says like, I need to get back to base. I'm falling apart. I can't know what the other characters do when they get really bad. They sort of screw this and out of here type thing.
Kind of, yeah. I think the dog just sort of limps away and you can't use him for a while, that kind of thing.
Yeah, poor
Can't
dog.
kill a dog permanently. In the
You
video.
can't kill any of them
No.
permanently unless you get to the end of the game.
Yeah.
So you've got rescue your mates. There are other South Viet Cong POWs to rescue.
Prisoner of war. Sorry.
You've got to find the lighters from downed American pilots. So you can find find a pilot, rescue lighters. There's also some bases to liberate. What's different about this one, though, actually, is rather than having, in normal Far Cry games, you liberate base and that unlocks all the stuff in the area. That one doesn't do it in this one. You have anti-aircraft guns, and they are basically, and what happens is, you see, they're stopping your aircraft flying in the area. If you destroy them, your aircraft can send off a recon plane, and then they let you start using airstrikes. So you have airstrike tokens, so you can like do. You only get initially get 5, but as you complete like
Do you get a decoder ring with your tokens?
No. As you complete the main objectives, like as you rescue POWs, you get a token. As you liberate base, as you liberate base, you get a
X-ray
token.
goggles.
And your little card to put in your bike wheel.
Yeah.
As you liberate base, you get a token. As you, when you destroy anti-aircraft guns, you get 3 tokens. Which I always used to find you have too many at that point, because obviously you don't use them or you approach them, because you can't. Because when there's anti-aircraft guns, you can't use the tokens nearby, because obviously the aircraft can't come near you, because there's anti-aircraft guns. But you can.
It'd be funny if you did that.
Yeah, but they won't let you.
They won't let you. Yeah,
Really?
They won't let you do it. Yeah.
Stupid game.
They say, sorry, mate, sorry, buddy, can't come there. It's too much hot air. It's hot.
Like, you're a puss.
I
Get
can't.
in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to. The LZ's too hot or something, whatever they say in American films.
Landing zone.
I'm
Sorry,
gonna punch him in a second.
that's my thing today.
Yeah.
I've got to have some like a
You
little
didn't
hook
correct
every
him to
week.
call it an LZ. No, keep going.
So you got to. So that's sort of its like difference where rather than about base and so forth, it plays very much like the older school Far Cry games. It's a lot more simplified, as they tend to be DLCs, because obviously you can't have the big skill trees and so forth. So what you do instead, now this is something you won't like it, Skazz, because it really encourages you to play stealthy.
No, thank you. Well, actually, I did play Far Cry 3 stealthy.
Yeah.
Really well. Fucking put you two to shame.
Good game, but aged.
Fucking rocked around with my stealth shotgun, because you two were like, oh yeah, mate, you need to play it all stealthy and that. So I fucking whipped out my shotgun, leveled
shotgun.
every fucking thing. Yeah. That was what my stream got called, just as a fucking sack. You fucking knocked to you two. I was like, yeah, mate. Ram and Middlemeister were like, yeah, you got to be really stealthy to play this game properly. So I got my stealth shotgun.
Well,
silenced.
Yeah.
Or not, double barrel sword off shotgun.
To encourage you to play stealthily, what the game basically gets you to do, every time you get, so rather than having unlock perks, you have like this permanent sort of like perk tree on the side of your screen. Every time you do a stealth kill, which is with a silenced weapon, stealth weapon like flurry knives or bow and arrow or a takedown, you like open up a level, and you get up to level 4, they call them survival instincts. If you get spotted, that resets to 0. So that's your encouragement if you want to. And they do give you fire. So like the first one you unlock is adrenaline, which means you auto-tag enemies within 10 meters of you, and when you're on crouch mode, you now can move at full speed, basically, so forth. You then get Ghost, which reduces your fall damage, also makes you quieter when you're moving about. You then get Sixth Sense. This basically, if someone's about to spot you, they automatically get tagged, and Predators are less likely to attack you. To be honest, that one doesn't really make a lot of difference. The final one is Predator, which is useful because it actually tag people through walls with the binoculars. Because you can tag people like normal binoculars, but you can tag people through walls with that one. Don't ask why that works. And you also tag people within 20 meters.
I'm pretty sure there's a physics thing going on there.
You just know they're there.
Heat vision, like the Predator.
Yes,
movie.
you just know you're there, which is basically very Vietnam focused. You just know they're there. So that encourages you to basically play stealth. Although the final mission, basically, you can't do stealth. The very final mission, you have to just a massive assault on your base. You just sit there, have a machine gun and so forth. So you can't really do stealthy on that one. There are vehicles in it, but I don't really drive them that much, to be honest. Because it's such a small area, you don't really need them. Like I say, you can, if you really want to, you can rush this in about an hour. If you really put your foot in, ignore everything. I sort of went round and sort of did everything, so I liked it. And I wasn't, as I say, I wasn't taking my time over. It was like, okay, I'm going to do this location. Okay, I've done that. Next location. I was literally hopping from location to location. I mean, you've got bunkers and so forth where you find your stealth weapons, which obviously dead underground, and you have to sort of be careful through there because you've got to be able to really get the drop people. Then once you've got full stealth level, that's quite easy. One nice thing about stealth is, if you do get spotted, you've got a few seconds to kill the person who spotted you before you lose it.
Yeah.
which is quite neat. So it's not instantaneous. I mean, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's a feature, but sometimes a couple of times where I've been spotted, you know, the little arrow fobs that you say you've been spotted, but I've killed the guy like straight away, and it's not been a problem.
That makes sense, because if they couldn't raise the alarm, then it's not.
But then if they have no one to raise the alarm to, if they for too long, that resets it. So but I suppose it gives you a bit of a chance if you do get spotted just to retaliate and sort yourself out. It took me, according to the game's timer, because I did everything, because I've got to play, I might as well do everything, 100%ed it, and it said it took me 6 hours to do everything. So you can make it long if you take your time over it and do everything.
Yeah.
The next DLC is called Lost on Mars. You play Nick Rye, the pilot from Far Cry 5.
Oh yeah, the biplane.
And you also now. One thing I'll say about Lost on Mars, whether you like or not, really depends on how much you like the character Herc, who's in Far Cry. Herc's like the sort of, he's been all the Far Cry since Far Cry 3, except for think Blood Dragon. But in Far Cry 3, he was basically he's just like this random guy you met in the jungle who's like strapping explosives to monkeys and trained to like sort of bomb people.
Never saw him.
In Far Cry 4, he was basically, if you played co-op, he'd be the co-op body sort of skin.
Never saw him.
In Far Cry's, he appears in Far Cry Primal. You meet his ancestor.
Never played it.
And in Far Cry 5,
hear from you.
In Far Cry 5, Montana is like his hometown. He's a typical redneck American who isn't
You're not
particularly
allowed to say redneck anymore, apparently.
Well, tough. He's typical redneck
What did
American.
you say instead?
Well, see, that's what I found was weird. Someone said to me that I like playing a game called Immortal Redneck. I'm not allowed to put redneck in the title of my streams anymore. So apparently that's a word that I'm not allowed to say on Twitch anymore.
Well, how does a Mortal Redneck work then?
Southern person?
Southern racist person?
Well, potentially, I don't know.
Those who have...
See, I asked
Okay.
I asked if rednecks were offended, and people said, no, it's not rednecks that are offended by being called rednecks. It's everyone else that they find it.
Oh, well, screw everybody else then.
Yeah, because everyone else is wrong.
If rednecks aren't offended, then who cares?
Yeah, no one gives a shit.
And most of them probably call themselves rednecks anyway. Mm-hmm. So he's... and
some of them are proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's not very bright. He's quite simple-minded. He's got a good heart in the grand scheme of things, but he goes about it in a bit of a weird way. He loves explosives, and anyway, he basically calls you up and says, "Oi Nick, I need some help. You know, so you're going to help me out. I kind of need your assistance in something." Next thing you know, you're being abducted by aliens.
I hate it when that happens. Jesus.
Yeah. And you wake up and you find yourself on Mars in a space suit.
So you find yourself
like a sheep.
You find yourself on a brown leather sofa in a small room with a microphone in front of you doing a podcast.
Yeah. And you basically wander through, and he calls you to the main room, and you go in there, and you find his head, and he's talking to you as a head, and you basically get your final power call. You power up, and you power up this AI called Annie, and she basically says, "Right, arachnids on this planet are going to invade Earth. You need to get me all fully powered up to defend Earth from the arachnids and save planet Earth." So then you basically spend your time on Mars, and you have to go around, find the arachnids, and again, so you have these terminals that power up. There's like antennas with terminals on the top, which harks back to all their Far Cry games. Because it's on Mars, obviously gravity's a lot lower, so you can really jump. So they've got more sort of jumping, ability of jumping about and so forth. You also quite early on get this thing called the gravity belt, which basically allows you to jump and sort of it's more like a jetpack really. You sort of fly up and hover. You can also hover in midair, which adds a bit of 3 dimensions to the combat.
Dude, I think you had enough.
Right.
Oh, nice.
I was not expecting that.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I was not
Thanks
expecting
for that.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't.
No, I couldn't see it from
Belfast man, thanks. So you hover it, so you can hover about. You get a bit, so it gets a bit of sort of like 3 dimensions to combat, which is quite nice. And so the last round of the game is basically the balance between Herc and Nick. Because they Herc quite quickly early on. He gets, this isn't a spoiler because this happens very early on. He gets put into a robot called Brobot. He follows you around, and basically he's your companion. He can't die he can't. He'll go down, but he'll just sit down until the combat's over and come back. So you can't dismiss him either. Which is why I say if you don't like Herc, you're going to really struggle with this king because he's in it for the whole thing. And it's quite funny the bands they go betrayed him and so forth. What's a bit weird is because obviously Nick Fry's obviously Nicholas, and Herc often refers to him as Nicholas, which was really weird for me. He said, "I worry about you, Nicholas." It's like, well, I am. Well, yeah, I can understand that. So the big enemies of this is these arachnids, which are basically sort of like think stormtroopers, starship troopers, those sort of similar sort of things to those. Yeah, my trouble, the downside of the game, this game is they've tried to do something different with the weapons. So they have tried to do something different mechanically wise. So your weapons in this one, you have no ammunition. Instead, your weapons recharge. So when they run out of power, each weight they recharge. If you fully deplete them, they take longer to recharge. If you sort of stop, they recharge quicker. It's like a cooldown if they fully deplete. The downside to this, in my opinion, is the fact that the weapons aren't very satisfying. Even like the sort of the sniper rifle, there aren't many enemies or one-hit kill, so it's not that sort of satisfying. Yes, boom! I've killed you. Sort of to it. Instead of the enemies in the base, to be very much bullet sponges, and they just don't feel that great. And the weapons are fairly limited. I mean, some of the weapons are some good stuff in. Like there's a gun later on which has homing bullets, which is quite neat. But it's obviously not been in Far Cry before, apart from the PC missiles, but as a gun type thing. They're very slow moving, but that's quite fun. But there's nothing particularly out there shoot. So it's not that satisfying combat. Although it's interesting for that you've got this extra third dimension, and you have to think about, well, I've got to take cover and hide. Trouble is that range of weapons to recharge just gets annoying after a while. Although I will say they recharge even if you're not using them. So if you switch to another weapon, you're still charging. So if you just keep switching weapons, you're all right.
Okay.
So you've done in this one. You've got to find all Herc's body parts because they're scattered around Mars. You've got to find them. Reactivate the towers. You get the terminals. As you get more terminals, a bit like the original Far Cry 3, as you get more terminals, you unlock weapons. So weapons are unlocked. You can't buy them; they're just unlocked by terminals. Of course, the big downside to that, which Far Cry 3 suffered for a bit, was that to unlock them all, you have to unlock the last terminal, which unlocks the best upgrades. The trouble with that, though, is at that point, you've only got one mission, the game's over. So it's like, well, you've given me this. So the best upgrades give you basically make sure gravity thing lasts really long. Your weapons hardly use any ammunition, so you can really sort of like use like a machine gun. But obviously, it's too late at that point. It's like, I wish I'd come in a bit earlier. Like, so like sort of 3/4 way through, you had those upgrades. Been quite nice. Or you could buy them somehow early out, like you could in Far Cry 3. You could buy them early, couldn't you? You could buy some money and buy them early. So that's a little bit annoying. So combat's not so satisfying in that one, but it is got that little slice dimension to it. I mean, things to do. Yes, you've got hurt body parts. You've got these alien like arachnid queens. Because obviously you have to get your energy cores to reactivate terminals, and all arachnid queens carry one. So if you kill them, you can take the energy core off them. And the currency of the game is like this sort of blood from the arachnids. All the arachnids have this blood sort of in them that you can collect, and then you can go to a 3D print and print your weapons by converting the blood to stuff. So it's interesting, but I always got Chuck Nixon missions in it as well.
Oh yeah,
which are like these sort of like they're like sort of race through checkpoint type things and so forth. All that one, sort of skill missions basically, and it's sort of and Chuck Nixon's like this really over the top, like he's maybe like based on
Evel Knievel kind of.
I think more like Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
like it's like really, it's like they're really over the top, like really he's super manly, testosterone poisoning manly. You know, like he's zooming for this cane. Every alien that watched him instantly became pregnant. Type. That's one of the descriptions they actually have for one of his missions he did, and it really bigs up. It's meant to be so over the top silliness about it. So that's in there again. As if it wasn't for the combat, wasn't quite so satisfying. I was actually out of the three of them, it's probably one I enjoyed the most, mainly because of the banter between the two guys. I like Herc actually, so the banter between the two works quite well. I like these geothermal events as well. And if you go down, you have like you sort of like pass out, get sort of like you get the trippy moments in Far Cry, and this is sort of that equivalent of you get these trippy moments, and it's usually Nick sort of like he sort of getting anger out. So like he finds one of the main characters, like this character John Seed from Far Cry 5, and he really hates. And he meets him. He just spends his little submission is him just killing him again and again and again and again and again and again with all the different weapons.
Sounds like a good mission.
It is quite fun, and that's when Herc says, "I'm really worried about you, Nicholas. You need to come out of this now. You need to wake up. This is not good for you."
I hate that in Far Cry 5 where they capture you and you have to find your way through that, that building with all
Bunker?
the different... Yeah, I hated that.
Yeah.
Every time I had to do that, I was like, oh, God, not this again.
Yeah, that's one of the big Far Cry things where you intrude. It doesn't do this. It's like one you just sort of like voluntarily have to go in to do.
Yeah.
So out of the two, actually, I preferred Lost on Mars because it was a little bit... It sort of like turned the forum up a little bit and tried something a bit more different. It just would have been more satisfying. The guns were a bit more satisfying.
I'll have to give him a try. I've got the gold edition.
The final DLC is actually, of the three, probably the most... I would say, I don't know how long it took me to play Lost on Mars. Steam reckons it took me 14 hours. I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, that'd be long.
I reckon it's probably about 6 hours again. But because Steam just counts, if you pause the game, Steam counts it. So
Yeah, as long as the executable is active, then the counter's
yeah,
running.
so there's probably been times where I've paused it, gone away, come back, and it's been running for like half an
Yeah,
hour.
I've had
So
it. Like, my number one most played game on Steam is literally just that.
yeah, so
So like
that's
the game has crashed and it's left the executable running, and Steam still thinks it's running even though it's gone.
Even if it's in the background or
yeah,
something.
it's because the system's still running and Steam still counts it. So you're just like, ugh. You've been playing for 3 million years. I was like, what?
yeah. So I think that's wrong. The final one is called Dead Living Zombies.
Okay.
And there's a character in Far Cry 5 called Guy Marvel, who's a movie director, and a really, really, not even really B movie director, like more like sort of Z movie director. And he basically, you're following him going around various producers, showing them scripts, and sort of saying, look at this, and they say that script is a script for like a zombie film, and that's when you sort of flip into the game where you are in. So each there's 7 levels.
So he's basically reading out a part of the thing, like a part of the pitch, and then all of a sudden you are playing that pitch.
You're playing the film basically, and there's 7 in total. And he then sort of like, okay, and they go here, and as you're walking through it, they'll like the producer, they'll sort of bounce ideas, so that'll change the level. So
Does it have anything neat like in the background? You'll occasionally see like a light stand or something like that.
Nothing like that, but it'll do things like as you're walking around, and of course this happens during the day, and Chuck goes, no, it happens at night, and then it all just turns to night. Day, night, day. No, it does all that, and I think one bit as you come out of the very first bit, it goes, it's a misty night. It says, no, don't have misty, because that ruins the camera flares. Have it like zones, so the mist just disappears. And you do stuff like that as you go around.
Sounds neat.
Yeah, it's neat. It's the thing about it is though is each mission can be done in about 8 minutes.
Yeah,
and they're quite easy. I only died on the last mission by accident because as I was backing away from a monster, I actually got myself caught in a corner and I couldn't get out.
Yeah,
and so I died. That was like more of a. It wasn't like it felt like I was overwhelmed. Death. That was more like I got caught.
yeah. Backpedaling's a bitch.
Yeah. So the missions are hard, and when you die, you do go right back to the start, get whole level resets.
Sure, but as you said, they're quite short. So
they are, yeah. So I said about 8 minutes or so. Once you've completed them, you then unlock like a score mode, where you can play again and you earn a score. And as you earn a score, you then get upgrades, which you can use in further runs. So it could be instant heals, instant reloads, special weapons, that sort of thing. Otherwise, each level plays like a mini like Left 4 Dead style level.
You'd have finished this 10 minutes ago, waiting for the coffin.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. I just realised I've been looking at the wrong screen for chats. Oops.
Oh, you...
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
There's a lot there as well.
No, no. Annie says evening. Pitbull says I made it. Hello. I did the Far Cry 5. Yeah, I love Far Cry 5 Pitbull as well.
Do I need to take control of the chat now as well?
No. Hi, Troy. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. There's nothing.
I know it's
Pitbull,
live, but can we
Pitbull
start
just rude. Pitbull's just saying she's read it to Far Cry 5. I agree. Far Cry 5 is great, except the ending.
It's okay.
I was gonna say I've seen Pitbull stream. I've seen Pitbull stream Far Cry 5. She seems quite into it.
Yeah, I said I like Far Cry 5 except for the ending.
I've played it.
So, Levity Zombies is probably out of the three. So because it's just so short and it can be done so quickly. It's okay for it's very arcade. It's like an arcade game basically. Thing you'll run through it. It's very cheesy. It's quite funny when you're playing through it because the guys sort of they bounce off each other. But it's other compared to the other two. It feels like a very shallow in comparison.
So are you filming like a zombie movie and then the zombies become real or something?
No, you are basically he's pitching it and you are playing the protagonist.
So basically, you're imagining what's going on, and as he's changing, as he's talking to you, as changing the.
So it says our protagonist leaves the farmhouse with his shotgun, and you will then be starting the game with you walking at the farmhouse with the shotgun, and then as you go around, it says, and then he finds a shed full of gasoline, and then the shed will just explode in front of you because you are the protagonist and talking through it. Which how the level changes as they're talking to each other, as the two guys are talking to each other, because it's like you're the pitch basically as it happens, and you get to the end. I just found it was a bit. And there wasn't a great variety to zombies, you know, basically normal zombie with exploding heads, and like it's heavy-duty zombies, and that's about it, really. There's not a great variety to them. So I just found a little bit of a... Compared to the last two, it felt really shallow compared to the last two. But I have enjoyed... the playing... So I was looking at the text goes as well. I have enjoyed these 3 DLCs. I think they're worth the money I paid for them. I've got plenty of time out of them, and I said they've been fun, so I would recommend playing them. Particularly, if you've got them for free. You know, if you've got them because you bought the bundle, then obviously you will. Yeah. But I would definitely recommend. They're worth the money in my opinion for what you get.
Sounds good.
Cool. I can now cough now.
No.
It's like he's been holding back that entire time, not one cough.
Yeah, what a trooper.
Right, so now moving on to the rant hour.
Oh, great, here we go.
Skazz, what have you been playing?
I sigh like, oh, here we go, and it's me.
I'm the one, yeah.
Why do people like Skyrim?
Oh, I like Skyrim.
Yeah, why?
I do too.
I like the environment.
I like the big open world. You go anywhere and find weird stuff, and you know, go off and have your own adventure, and then get involved in the story if you want, or get involved in guilds and all that kind of stuff.
I like it when you're trying to do something, the dragon just annoyingly intervenes and fires flames at you.
Yeah.
I like all the bugs that being a PC player I can fix, so I have access to the console.
Cheating, you mean?
Well, if it's a bug, not.
No. See, Bethesda don't make games with bugs. They're flawless.
Yes, they do.
From start to finish, flawless. That's a feature.
And another lies to tell children.
They're features.
Yes.
Games that can't be finished, quests that never end.
Yeah.
Events that never trigger.
Exactly.
Guards that lock you into a room, and then when you try to open the door, they arrest you because you had to pick the lock to get back out of the building they locked you into.
They're progressing though.
Apparently,
is the pinnacle of that ethos.
According to Chalky, the one with the beard is gay. Having a beard is gay. XD.
It is very gay. I mean, what kind of...
You see lots of gay men with beards.
Yeah, that is... I don't understand it, Chalky. Like, why is it? Right? Why do people have beards? It's such a stupid thing to have. They're expensive to keep. You know? You look like a tramp most of the time if you don't look after them properly. It's just, you know...
I'm as smooth as a baby's bottom, so...
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, fucking hell. One day you might hit puberty. Don't worry about it, dude. One day. You'll have a growth spurt.
Biggest
as well.
I wouldn't have such a deep manly voice if I hadn't hit
puberty.
If
we hadn't hit puberty.
If I ain't got done to hit no puberty.
Why even wondering? I've just noticed we've got 4 viewers. Just saying.
Nice.
Holy shit! The world has ended.
Yeah.
Go away.
Halfway to double figures.
Yeah.
Well, not quite.
Not quite.
No, your maths.
Go back to school, dude.
Yeah.
Now, if we're in binary, we'd be in triple figures.
But we're not in binary.
We could be. 5 viewers. We're now halfway to double figures.
Hey.
Who doubled up their browser tab?
I don't know. Whoever it was, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate all this.
Yeah. Right, anyway, Skyrim.
Yeah. Right, so we've established that there are some things about the game that people like.
I tell you what's really good. Now, come on. If you want to play Skyrim, it's a bit different. Play as a stealth archer.
I do love playing as a stealth archer. I know you.
I think you might be a little bit.
Yeah, I can't.
There we go. Tighten up. She cannot take it, Captain. Oh.
I knew that was gonna do that when I.
That might be the one that used to hit Bard in the bollocks.
It is the one who used to hit Bard in the bollocks. For the audio viewers...
Yeah, if I'd let go of my foot, it kind of starts to...
For the audio viewers, we just got his microphone just right, tightened it, just went down again.
I was going to have to talk like this. I'll do a bit of ASMR.
Anyway, Skyrim.
I have a love-hate relationship with Skyrim. Even though I like the Elder Scrolls games. All of them up to Oblivion. So I don't like all of them.
All of them, no.
Well, no, I like Oblivion, but
3 of them.
There was this one wonderful bug. Right? I will call this entire disease a bug. It's called vampirism. And in Oblivion, there was a quest that you could go on to cure your vampirism. Because, once vampirism progressed to a certain level, everyone would attack you, and at some points, even if you would feed, some NPCs would still be fucking terrified of you because Bethesda. And so you were basically stuffed. You couldn't travel anywhere. Your magicka was turd. You were a turd character. You were instantly nerfed the second you got vampirism.
You had to travel at night pretty much all the time.
Yeah, here's a question for you.
Certain quests
Did you
wouldn't
get
work.
any bonuses for it? Like, for example, did you get a bonus to, like, speech and stuff?
You were stronger and things like that.
Because
If you were any time during the day, you were just instantly stuffed, though. Your magic was crap, your health was crap.
It started depleting sometimes.
The
screen would, like,
that was
blur red
my
and
problem.
stuff.
So by the time I got to this point in Oblivion to try and cure my vampirism, I couldn't do anything during the day. If I was out during a sunny moment, I couldn't fast travel because I was losing health because of my vampirism in the sun. I couldn't use magic because your magic's practically halved when you're a vampire in the sun. Your stamina doesn't recover because you're a vampire in the sun. So it was bullshit. So you go to try and fix this thing, and eventually the quest would bug, and Nick has just shat his pants because we're in double feet. No, not double. So we're in 6. We're an hour over halfway now. Good job. So you'd have to go on this quest, and this was a common quest to bug out in Oblivion. The quest to cure vampirism.
It worked for me, but it still annoyed the crap out of me trying to solve the problem.
See, for me, the quest giver ended up going hostile on me, no matter what I did. Even if I was only like level 1 vampire, you don't break into her house, you don't cause any trouble in the area of her house or anything. All of a sudden, she just hated me straight away. She just wanted to kill me constantly. So like
what were you? What was your actual character build? What were you originally in terms of species?
Fuck me, I can't remember now.
That's one of
that was a long time ago. But either way, she was fine with me to start with. And then just this one time, I left her house, and then she comes. She's just given me the quest to go and cure my vampirism. I've gone to do the next part, and I have to go back to her, I think, to finish it.
Yeah, I think I remember being the man that cured me, but
just fucking wails at me, runs out of her house, and no matter what I did, she would just come after me. So I was like, okay, the quest is bust. Eventually, don't worry, Bethesda fixed that by releasing a DLC. That was great. I was actually happy to pay it so that I could cure my vampirism, so that I could complete the fucking story. The ending to that story was turd. Anyway.
I didn't mind the ending to the main story, but...
Well, the one where they turn into dragons and start...
Yeah.
That was just so disconnected. That and the bosses. The end boss technically were 3 people in robes that I punched the fuck out. So it's like, woo! Good job, guys.
Had its issues.
Just a few. It was fun though. I did quite enjoy. I enjoyed glitching the everlong fuck out of Oblivion. That was good fun. But when Skyrim came out,
this was PS3, wasn't it? You had those issues with
Xbox 360.
Everything.
But then when Skyrim came out, I had issues off the bat. Poor performance on the PC version that Bethesda weren't interested in trying to help me fix. On their forums, their advice was, because I had a dual graphics card set up, I've had this rant before, if I took one of my graphics cards out, the performance would go up.
So
right?
weird.
So their advice to me was, if you want to play Skyrim, when you want to play Skyrim, take one of your graphics cards out of your system. And I was like,
because also it's like USB plug and play, isn't it?
Yeah,
graphics card. It's such a simple thing to do.
But so I was like, look, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm not. Like, I barely played for about an hour at this point. I'm not going to play Skyrim. It really soured me on the game. I wasn't super hyped about it beforehand, but that just kind of ruined it for me. I tried to come back to it, every couple of years just to see if I could get back into it, because eventually I had a rig that was plenty powerful enough to play it with a single graphics card, so it didn't really matter. And Bethesda, you finally realised that PCs had more than 4 gigs of RAM. Once upon a time, me and Ram have had this discussion.
16 gigs of RAM I had when Skyrim came out, not according to Skyrim.
Yeah, and we were all like, why is this running so
Why is Skyrim designed for 32-bit operating systems?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
It ran quite well on consoles, but looked a little... Well, didn't look great, but it looked okay.
Well,
I was happy at the time.
So, I've gone back to it a couple of times. And I actually picked it up on the Switch when it came out. I've slagged off. So if I say a game is shit, it only literally has to have one thing to put me off.
Does.
If that one thing is enough to put me off playing it, the game is shit. It doesn't matter if I like the music. It doesn't matter if I like the world. It doesn't matter if I like the combat or whatever. If there's one thing that breaks the game for me, that's it. The game is just instantly shit.
That's true. No, with that Metro Exodus, I'm having a real hard time because the loading times are an absolute nightmare, and that's really I die quite a bit because it's hard.
Yeah,
and it takes forever to reload, and that is really selling that game on me massively.
One of my
I'm
mates
going to wait for a
played-
patch and hope for a patch.
Yeah, hopefully there's a patch.
Yeah,
so
to
at least
improve
that's not a
them.
Bethesda game, so you know that you're going to
Yeah,
probably
it should
get one.
should be on the way. Yeah, I hope. God.
So I got it on the Switch and I started playing. I was like, you know what? This is just because let's put it this way: until the Switch version came out, I'd never actually finished talking to the Greybeards, which is like right at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Like you're talking
big
about no
snowy
more than an
temple
hour, 2 hours
Well,
of the game, if that.
For me, it's quite a long waiting.
Well, yeah, because you're like looking
Within-
around.
yeah,
I
if you
was
go straight through
I
it.
should really go there. Fuck that. I'm gonna go elsewhere.
Well, I spent nearly 10 hours just glitching up cliffs.
Yeah.
In the Switch version, like I just love breaking physics in Elder Scrolls games. It's just kind of what I do. You know, me and Chalky had loads of fun breaking Morrowind back in the day. So I was like, you know what? I enjoy walking around. I've always said that, Hannah. When the was it the Omni was a thing?
And yeah, we said it'd be nice to have a walk in Skyrim.
Yeah, I would actually play Skyrim if I had a VR headset and I could walk around Skyrim, because fucking the game's gorgeous. The world is absolutely beautiful. Even the Billy Bob Basic standard version.
Why would you want to walk through like Lowestoft town centre? But you could walk through like sort of like Winterfell.
Yeah, I could get attacked by vampires walking through Skyrim. You know, not that doesn't happen on a daily basis walking through Lowestoft town centre, but you know,
Yeah, it's true.
it's a lot less annoying.
Not since they had the crackdowns though. They've sort of got that under control now.
Only just.
Yeah.
Only
No,
just.
I mean, it's not. But compared to the old days, you know, you used to be scared going outside your house after dark. Now,
Mate, I grew up on the witness state. I ain't worried about going outside.
do you have vampirism?
Well, shut up.
Yeah,
So right, I get back into Skyrim on the Switch, and you know, last podcast I was talking about Senran Kagura, weren't I? Well, I decided I was going to play the next one on PC, and I did, and my PC was plenty powerful enough to play it, but it ran like shit. Right, now the laptop that we're doing this stream off of is more than powerful enough to play that game, and it ran like shit. Frames stuttering all the time, it was just locking up. The music was fine, but the game is practically unplayable. So on one of my live streams, me and a mate joked, 666 Jet, we joked, wouldn't it be funny if I could get this to work on Linux? On my Linux gaming PC, because that was the only other PC I had functioning. And the game worked flawlessly. So, yeah, it worked better on a lower end machine running through Linux than it did on a Windows 10 machine that was plenty powerful enough to play it. Bizarre! So, this is where we get to Skyrim. I was like, okay, I wonder if Skyrim works. So I've got both versions of Skyrim. I figured, you know, I'll give it a go. Just, you know, try the Steam Play Proton. The thing that allows you to play Windows games one-click installs on Linux. So what's the newest one? The remastered edition.
Go say bye, Chalky. He said to go.
Have fun, dude.
I think it's just
Collector's edition, remastered edition.
I think it might be remastered edition or
whatever that one is.
Yeah, there was a collector's edition, and I think there's this one, like Ultimate Edition or something like that.
The newest one doesn't work on Proton. Or it does, but only sound effects work. So the game works, sound effects work, but there are no voices and no music.
That will impact your experience.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I went back and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to have a look and see. I'm going to fire up the regular version. And it turns out I haven't played that version since 2011 when it first came out. Okay? I was like, all right, I'm gonna go as far as I can. I can't remember how far I've gotten on the Switch version, and I'm rocking my way through the game. I'm kind of enjoying it. I found my way to glitch through cities, and found a way to like quickly get money and stuff like that. I managed to buy a house and all this kind of stuff quite early on. And then because I don't fast travel in Elder Scrolls games. I never have. I don't really like it. Only if I'm forced to. It became like a thing to hop around Oblivion at the end of it kind of thing. But early on in the game, I like to explore and absorb the world and all that. And steal everyone's books. I walk past this random NPC who's freaking the fuck out that he's just been attacked by a vampire. Just in the middle of nowhere. The horse thief. He's from Rorikstead, isn't he, or something like that?
Yes.
Right? I've just passed Rorikstead as this fucking random guy's freaking out about... because I was just wandering around, because that's what I like to do. He's like, have you got a cure for vampirism? Can you cure me? Have you got a potion or some fluff? And I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, I'm going to have to go back to town to find a priest. I go off on my merry way, not thinking anything about it, and all of a sudden all the townspeople are saying that I look really sick. Now, my brain didn't click that I might have contracted vampirism. So roll on a couple of days.
Does it not tell you?
Oh, well, if it did, I didn't notice
Oblivion
it.
tells you when you contract vampirism, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It on one of the sleep scenes and that, but I hadn't slept or anything. So it wasn't until all of a sudden I waited, because I was waiting for something to refresh, for an NPC to turn up, and all of a sudden... It dumps me back, so I've waited for 4 hours. I'm now sat, and all of a sudden it says, your vampiric blood boils, and I'm like, no.
That must have been a killer.
I was like, don't fucking do this to me, because I started having Oblivion flashbacks. It's like, oh my god, don't do this to me. So I leave it, because I don't really like feeding for vampirism, because you have to feed every few days, because if not, your vampirism progresses. You become more powerful, even though you're starved. But then there's a time when you will eventually be feared by every person in the game. Guards, regular NPCs, quest givers, whatever. They just won't speak to you or they'll attack you on sight. So
has anyone watching played Skyrim? Just out of interest, see if they got vampirism, how they got on with it.
Chalky probably has, but he's left.
Yeah.
So here's the trick. I've never had vampirism on the Switch version. On the PC version, I get vampirism, and it's really fucking with me. I've just literally got my house. All I want to do is do the main quest line. I was having a bit of a laugh in the process, but when I got vampirism and I started to turn, I was freaking the fuck out because my magic was low, because it's daylight, my stamina doesn't restore. I'm on a quest where I have to fight dragons who breathe fire, and I now have a 20% weakness to fire. It's like, oh, fucking great. So I have to struggle my way through that quest and then realise, shit, I'm going to have to cure vampirism if I want to really play this game. Start looking into the quest. It looks like it's a bit of a slog. So I then have to go all the way back to an area around Rorikstead to find an NPC. It's not Rorikstead, it's somewhere around that area.
I also, when I contracted vampirism in Oblivion once, and I looked up how to get rid of it, and I thought, God, that seems like a lot of faff. And I looked at the console command to remove it. That was a lot easier.
Well, this is what a lot of PC gamers and that were telling me to do. But I was like, yeah, but that's not the proper experience. You know what I mean? I want to actually go around the world and deal with this stuff as it comes, kind of thing. So I find out how much it is. It looks like it's a bit of a slog. I could have used the console commands. I understand that. But I was like, well, what would I have had to have gone through if I was on the console? So I just don't bother doing it, you know?
I feel sorry for those people.
Yeah, but fucking playing a Bethesda game that's bug riddled that you can't open up the console on.
I feel so sorry for those people.
So I'm rocking around, I head back to the area and I get the quest. I'd actually already passed the town the day before where I can get the cure for vampirism. So I find out where I can get black soul gems, because you need a black soul gem, you need the spell soul trap. I find out where to get that, and then you need to get a human soul. Right? So you have to go and soul trap a bandit or something like that.
Small child.
Well, yeah, you could. Look, I didn't want to do any town NPCs because I still have nightmares of playing Morrowind when I break into someone's house, stab them, and then they say, "Oh, by the way, you've just kind of fucked up your chances to complete the main quest line because you've killed a main NPC."
What was it? The destiny has been broken or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. I can't remember what the warning was, but it happened, and it used to happen a lot for me because I was a murderous bastard back in Morrowind. So I'm trying to get round to find bandits, and all of a sudden my soul trap stops working. It just doesn't work. And then I realise something. As I find a bandit camp, I realise, shit, I accidentally soul trapped a minor enemy. And that soul is now in my black soul gem. I've crossed halfway across the map to find the bandit camp that I knew was there, that I left bandits in, to get the thing to go back.
Can you not like sort of like empty out, give it a good shake and sort of like empty the soul out?
Well, I'll get to that. Okay, so I'm getting really. At one point, I fucking rage quit because I got to this point on the map. Vampirism annoys me to no end because I have to feed. I have to go off the beaten path. I have to go away from where I want to go. Yeah. I can't just play the game how I want to play now because it's dictating how to play the game completely rather than changing your style of play.
It's fine to have it, but making it so hard to remove is just ridiculous.
It's not ridiculously hard to remove, but it's the fact that you have to do it if you just want to enjoy playing the game.
Yeah, it's just like a real faff.
And I found myself getting regularly attacked by vampires in the first city where you can buy your house.
White one?
Yeah, I think that's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
The one where the dragon attacks right at the start.
It's near there, isn't it?
Right one, it is right.
You have to go for a bit of a walk before that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very near there.
You go through sort of double gates your house, like just a little bit on the right. There's a blacksmith, companions guilds there as well.
Yeah, that's
right one.
I've got that on my current player. That all fully decked out as well.
Yeah, well, mine is on the Nintendo Switch. My house is fully decked out. On the PC version, I don't have enough cash.
I even have an adopted child living there. Yeah.
I said, fuck that, I've got an alchemy room, so, you know.
I had to change that for your bedroom.
When I had a child come to me and basically said...
There's one in Solitude.
I played because I got the DLC. Well, a child came up to me and said, do you want some flowers? And I said, no. And then she said, oh, okay, then. And she then said, and then I asked her why she was selling flowers, and then because you can't ask anything else but why you're selling flowers. Mm-hmm. And then she mentioned that, my family's dead, and then the option is you can come live with me if you want. Like, this is creepy.
Yeah, it's the same with the kid in Solitude.
I mean, I gave her a gold piece. She wanted to come live with me. I thought, well, I own you now, I suppose. I mean, this game went places I wasn't expecting it to, and I thought I could send it to my house and write one. I said, you can't do it. You've got nowhere for me to live. It's like, I've got bloody right one. I've got a house Carl there. She can look after you.
Yeah. I lost her as well. She disappeared at one point.
When she lost her, she's just somewhere out there.
She just wandered off. I was like...
You probably said, wait, and she's still waiting.
No, seriously, mate. As soon as... You know when you first get her, when Jarl, whatever his face is, says, right now you've got a house, Carl.
Mine died.
I dismissed her right off the back. So, she starts talking to us. Shall we go do something? I said, okay, no, cancel. She fucking wandered off out the back of the castle and then just disappeared. I was like...
She committed suicide. She was
so disappointed not to be able to go on adventure. She just killed herself. I was like, okay. I randomly found her again though, just like sat there eating and drinking in one of the main halls.
In Oblivion, I did leave. There's a food companion that follow you around in Oblivion. But I did leave one in a dungeon somewhere, and I can't remember where I left them.
Oops.
So somewhere there's this companion sat with a torch. It might be the adoring fan with a torch. It's like, I'll wait for you here. It's like, and I'll never go back.
Stuck deep in an Oblivion game.
I just think one day I'm just going to go back in Oblivion. I'm just going to I'm just going to go in a cave somewhere, and we'll walk down there, and it's going to be and say, where the fuck were you?
Like,
I've been here for several years.
Yeah.
Hey, not my problem, man. If you didn't think to leave, that's all on you. So, right, I fucked up my soul gem and I rage quit. Right, I was getting angry with being a vampire anyway. I hate vampirism. So not only do I hate the fact that Bethesda fucked up the game right off the bat...
You've got to save so often, though, so you don't end up with it.
Well, yeah, but... So I had vampirism, and one time I was so close to curing it, only to be attacked whilst I went back to town to get gear to sell. So after I found out I fucked up my soul gem, I went back to go buy another one.
Right.
I didn't have the money. Okay, I can get the money though if I go back to my home and empty out one of my chests because I've got shit tons of stuff in it. Because I steal books. I can't help it. That's one of my favorite things to do in Skyrim is just grab things and read. Ever since I first played it, even though it was broken, I just used to like reading the books.
You can never be bothered with that.
The main quest line annoys me. The history of the land is kind of interesting to me. So, I could just go sell books, sell ore, stuff like that. And then I could go buy a gem and go and whatever. But then I got attacked by a vampire as I left the inn. And I was like, you know what? The game is fucking with me. As if to say, you could have just cured vampirism. But we've just instantly attacked you with a vampire. So you'd have contracted vampirism. Again, unless you had a potion to get rid of minor diseases. Because you've got like a couple of days before you turn, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right? So I rage quit. I flipped my shit and I said, look, I'm not fucking doing this. The next day I was like, no, I'm going to dedicate this day's stream to curing the vampirism, and found myself I'd fucked up again, and I just couldn't do it. I was stuck on this cliff.
Very unlucky with vampirism.
I had no ways. I was ready to go, but I still didn't have a black soul gem. I didn't have any money. I couldn't buy another one. I couldn't travel anywhere. I couldn't even use soul trap because as a vampire during the day, your magic's halved. So I didn't have enough power, even fully charged, to use soul trap. So I found another bug. I got so pissed off, I literally threw my soul gem on the floor, looking at a little childish tantrum. It was like, well, I can't do anything with it, so I'm just going to throw it on the floor. And it turns out that
when you say throw it on the floor, you mean
just
grab
drop
it
it,
in a tree and
just drop it.
Yeah.
Right?
Not quite so dramatic.
But it turns out that if you drop a soul gem, it empties.
Is that a bug or is that an intentional?
I imagine it's a bug, right? Because and the same if you put it in storage. Sometimes they empty. So I dropped this soul gem. I was
it's
like,
like leaving milk out the fridge.
yeah, pretty much. It just fucks up. It just eventually it's not there anymore. Yeah. So I
cry over spoilt soul gem.
I found the little base with all the bandits again, and I got there. I managed to empty my soul gem, and then found I couldn't use soul trap because it was daytime. Had to find a place to hide so that I could then use weight for nighttime. Got the soul gem, filled it up, got back to the random place, and cured my vampirism. That was today. All right, so I've had vampirism once. I would have gotten vampirism again straight away had I have cured it because I went back to town and the town got attacked by vampires. But today I cured vampirism. And then the next mission that I got involved taking out a group of vampires.
Wah, wah.
So, by the time I literally got out of the cave, I was a vampire again.
Did that bug you or?
Oh, well, let's just say I'm more than slightly pissed at this point.
Right.
Now, one of my viewers on stream is a huge Skyrim fan. He loves modding Skyrim. He doesn't like playing vanilla Skyrim, but he likes modding Skyrim, which makes me think, like, don't recommend the game if you don't like the vanilla game.
Change the whole thing.
Yeah. Look, if you only play the game modded, you must make it clear to people that you are playing it modded. Because if you encourage someone to buy the game and you're talking modded and they don't know that, they'll buy the game and be really disappointed.
There are a few mods that I put on Skyrim which to me just they're more quality of life improvements. Like there's one that basically makes the inventory like a... Because the inventory in Skyrim is rubbish.
Oh yeah, no choice about it.
But there's a mod that basically turns like the old start Oblivion style inventory where it's all listed in stuff, and I have that mod installed.
I used one that changed the opening. That was quite good.
Yeah, I've also we put Tom's Tank in there.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, I've also got a mod that
instead of dragons sometimes.
The other mod I have increases the amount of money that the shops have.
Yeah, I've
so you're not doing the old
yeah.
having to wait and go for. They just put that gives them like maximum money.
Yeah, because you have to wait like 48 hours, don't you?
Yeah.
That's when vampirism first hit me. I was waiting 48 hours for a shopkeeper to refresh, and that's when I turned. I was like,
that's a mod that makes it a lot easier because you're not sat there waiting.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So you know, I don't bother. I do understand mods, but I don't like the modding community when they don't make it clear that they're talking the modded version. Yeah. But most PC gamers, and this one player did say to me, he said, well, most of the people who I talk to, we're all talking about modded Skyrim. It's like, yeah, but you have to make that clear to people who don't know that.
Yeah.
You know? Otherwise, you're kind of being a bit... That's not really being honest, saying that you like Skyrim. You like playing the world of Skyrim, not the game Skyrim. You like modding Skyrim. You don't like playing the game Skyrim.
Yeah, I mean, if it depends. If the mod, I mean...
No, they're talking about full-blown changing
the game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a bit different.
Graphical ones are okay.
Graphical ones, that's just a tweak. NPC stuff that actually changes behaviour of like the money for the NPCs, that's a bit more severe. Things like changing how the UI works, just so if that... I sort of say like that's a relatively minor...
But the trouble is, though, if you as a PC player... If you as a PC player say that and then someone goes out and buys it on console like Switch or PS4 or Xbox, they can't apply those mods.
You can on PS4 and Xbox.
Oh, you can now,
yeah.
but not
as
all of them.
Not as full on, no.
Yeah.
Like the 360 Xbox you can do pretty well on, but PS4, because Sony have some issue with mods, the mods are only limited
they got
to
limited RAM
assets
or
within the game. They just don't let it. They can only.
They like the system's quite locked down, so you don't know.
You can't import something brand new in. It has to be an asset that exists within the game already to be changed. Or
I think Chalky has told me about some of those as well. Like there are certain modders who completely redesigned armor, but they couldn't put them in the PS4 version.
Yeah, Sony have some issue with it. I don't know. I'm not sure why they're so against it.
It's for their point of view. It's probably security. Lock down the system.
Well, Sony have been censoring a lot of stuff recently as well. So I just think it's them being assholes. They've already got the bigger market share, so they can force you to do things as Sony wants you to.
When it comes to letting people do stuff what they want with stuff, they've not got great history.
Well, people think that Nintendo are really bad for it, but Nintendo are ruthless. But where Sony is now censoring games, family-friendly Nintendo are like, fuck it, man.
I'll just point out Sony. When people tell us about it, just remember, as a division of Sony, deliberately installed spyware on your PC and rootkits on your PC.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
And they censored bottoms in Devil May Cry 5 in the West.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's recently. That's very recent. They've gone hardcore. Like so I play Samurai Kagura games. They reckon most of those will be censored. The Dead or Alive remakes have been censored on Sony. They're not on Switch. Full blown fucking bikinis and jiggle physics everywhere.
I think it's not
on Sony's PS4. They've nerfed it all, so it's a lower quality physics.
Yeah, I don't know why. They just seem to be
physics engine. I should say.
Funny about all that sort of stuff.
Anyway, so vampirism. It fucking sucks. This one guy did say to me, look.
So you've currently got it as your plan. If you
if I go back upstairs now, I've got vampirism again. Woo! I was clean for about half an hour.
How do you load before you go
I
in
love
that
that
cave,
you sound like an addict now.
Yeah, I feel like it, man.
You got a rehab.
Well,
you were clean. You had a little token for clean for an hour.
As soon as I cured my vampirism, I went back to my home. Right, and was it Whiterun we said? Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it's River One, but...
Well, whatever it is. I went...
it's definitely Whiterun.
There
is a river something as well.
You'll feel with a guard?
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know, but either way, I left my house and the place got attacked by vampires again. Thankfully, I died, so I didn't contract the thing. But I go back, I do this mission, and so the point is, this guy said to me, you do know you could fix this if you just become a werewolf. And I was like, but in the grand scheme, because I couldn't remember if werewolf had any negative effects to it. Like vampirism's got 1 million of them. I can't remember if being a werewolf does.
But I could be wrong.
I said to him that, to be honest with you, I don't really want vampirism, and I really can't be asked to deal with lycanthropy either.
It doesn't hurt you at all.
But right now, since I got vampirism again, that was actually part of the quest that leads to, I believe, getting lycanthropy from the
companions.
Yeah.
If you have the full edition, it's easier.
Companions, you're fighting the Silver Hand in the companion quest. I don't know if there's any vampires in that.
No, they had me fighting vampires right at the start. Yeah, one of the first missions.
If you do the DLC bit, though, the Dragonborn or whatever that DLC was, I think you can get it a little bit quicker and easier.
Oh, fair.
Possibly. That might be worth having a look into.
Because I'm getting sick as fuck of having to sneak around and feed.
You are incredibly unlucky with vampirism.
Yeah, mate, the game is just trolling me.
Because I had it on 360 like you did, and then I had my 360 in Germany, and PS3 just sort of come out, and that was a launch game for PS3, Oblivion. And I got it on there, and I just made sure I went nowhere near any possibility of getting vampirism, no chance.
That does my head in. Vampirism and me in Elder Scrolls games just don't get on.
No, what the hell?
So
you'll have it in Switch soon.
I'll finish feeding, then I'll just go ask you something.
No, go.
I'll see. So let's turn it on the head. Is it vampirism generally you hate, or is it the way it's implemented you don't like? Is there a version of vampirism that they could have put in that would perhaps tweaking how it affects the gameplay so that it's has an effect on the game, but it's not hateful?
I would have said that. Right, so I've been playing for about 10 hours. I'm only about level 10. Right, I'm not a very high level character. I mean, most people finish the game at level 60 or whatever. Right, but I'm still a pretty weak character at this point. Okay, I've almost been hit with vampirism 4 times in 10 levels. Okay, look. If you said to me, vampirism isn't going to become a heavy-duty thing until, I don't know, level 20 or something, cool. I would have had a higher mana pool by that point, or magicka pool by that point, so I could have still used some of my skills during the day with vampirism. The fire damage increase wouldn't have been so bad because I'd have already fought a few dragons to power up a little bit.
So almost needs to be leveled effects in a way.
You kind of. It's just the fact that because it's hitting me at such a low level, I don't have very high stats to offset the negative effects of vampirism, and the fact that it's happening to me so frequently, and I don't actually know, but someone said to me that the cure for vampirism may only work once. You may only be able to trigger that quest once, and if that's the case, I'm fucked.
Console, mate, use the console.
You know, it's getting ridiculous, and.
So in your mind, there's no way to fix vampirism in the game.
Maybe just tone down the negative effects, but then they wouldn't mean anything if it was later in the game.
Well, it's got to be a balance, hasn't it? It's got to be a balance to...
Only travelling at night was the thing I really hated.
It's got to be enough of an effect to make you change how you play a bit, but not severely impact you.
And this is what I really dislike about it, because it is really impacting the way that I play. I can't just stick around and explore unless I'm like, okay, I've been exploring for a couple of days, shit, now I'd better feed, otherwise every guard within 3 miles is going to kill me.
Perhaps the way to do it is you get vampirism and you unlock like certain powers associated with it you can use. However, if you use them, you almost like get like a... If you don't drink blood like after you've used them within a certain time frame, then you start getting negative effects. Yeah. So it affects the gameplay, and if you want to get used to, and make the powers quite useful, it's what you attempt to use them. But you know, if it's say every time you use power, it like drains blood from some stats, but that blood never goes down because you never use them. Yeah. So if you get it and you never use power, it's not a problem for you. Yeah. But as soon as perhaps you have power that makes you like scares everybody nearby, or perhaps gives you like a massive bonus to a speech check because vampirism would be charismatic. But as soon as you do that, you then have to make sure you then drink something to like push that up. Otherwise, you start so negative. Perhaps that sort of balance would work to fix it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I understand how vampirism works, but the trouble is most of the stuff in Skyrim happens during the day, and this was the same problem with Oblivion. You can't go out during the day as a vampire. Yeah. You're just instantly stuffed. Even the NPC that offers you the cure for vampirism says, don't go out during the day, because it's going to be really hard and really dangerous. It's like, but I need to complete half of these goddamn quests.
I hated that. That was the worst.
Wouldn't be so bad, but the other thing they could do is make it so that once you've had it, going back to our original vaccine talk, once you've had vampirism once, you're then immune to it for all future occurrences.
Yeah, or at least give me a pad so that I'm immune for, 10 levels or a couple of hours or, something like that.
Unlock, once you've worked out the potion, whatever it needs to, you then unlock it as an alchemy potion you can mix or make.
Yeah, it could also be where you get it, and then, but to actually activate it, you have to bite someone first, so you get a choice. So you have it, and then... Yeah, it fades away after a certain period if you don't bite someone.
You can almost like have charges, couldn't you? You use charges. Yeah. There you go, that's working similar to what I should. You bite people, you get charges that you can use up to then use your abilities. But if you use when you've got no charges left, that's when you start getting negative effects.
I wouldn't even mind. Like I wouldn't mind it so much if, cause like I said, some people have said vampirism is fine in later game because you've got high enough stats to offset the way that works. If I didn't have to feed so often, and my level wasn't so low that it was really seriously impacting the way that I had to play. So, I mean, even getting the cure for vampirism at my level was a nightmare.
That is early level to get vampirism.
Yeah. They seem really bad at, actually. They do seem really bad at, sometimes despite the fact that all this levelling stuff, they seem really bad at, making things appropriate for the level.
Yeah, they should definitely have capped that somewhere.
It's a bit like we were discussing earlier about the werewolves. A werewolf in the base Skyrim doesn't increase in power.
No.
So
that was a DLC. That was an addition, wasn't it? In a later DLC.
Well, I think. So if you become a companion, your werewolf ability is good at first, but once you get past level 10, it's useless. Because you just, apart from giving you free from vampirism, it becomes useless at that point because it's too weak, and you'll turn into a massive werewolf, but you'll already be so weak you'll just be mullered.
Yeah. So it's just upsetting because whilst I jump up and down, shout and scream, and I'll say, like, fucking Skyrim is shit, it is literally just things like vampirism and the really shitty coding that make it, to me, a shit game. The world is gorgeous. I walk around with the soundtrack on my media player.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just a few things that ruin it for me. Vampirism especially, because it is forcing me to go out of my way to do things to stop it from affecting me even worse in the game.
Perhaps Bethesda should take just an extra year or something to release those games, like Rockstar. Take as long as it takes to release a game.
It'd be nice. I mean, the trouble is, So vanilla Skyrim on PC came out in what, 2011?
Yes, 11,
Right.
11, 11.
So there you go.
Actually,
So
yeah.
Let's put it this way, when I bought the Nintendo Switch version, a lot of the bugs from vanilla Skyrim, the game-breaking ones, are still in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think they
crazy.
spent an awful lot of time on that version.
But the fans had already patched out a lot of these bugs. I looked it up. There's a huge list of bugs that are still in the game that Bethesda knew about. It's like all you had to do was use one of the, like, right up to the fan patch. The guy who made the fan patch, say, look, can we put this in and apply it to like all future versions of the game?
Yeah.
But they fucking didn't.
It's understandable to have some.
I
It's not
thought
so
you
massive, but it's just
Oh,
a number
yeah,
of
for
them.
sure.
I like the fact that you said they would actually ask permission from the person who wrote the fan patch to put in.
Well, yeah, but
they-
you know, most corporations wouldn't they just steal it and go with it?
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, we fixed these.
Compared to Fallout 76 now,
Oh yeah, then
there's
fucking at
so
that point, Skyrim's
lots
a
of quests
masterpiece.
that don't activate in that game.
I mean, I really like breaking physics in Skyrim, like I always did in Oblivion. One of the first things I did in Skyrim when I got it on the Switch was climb up a sheer cliff face. Just like literally, just you know when you hop,
like that
if you
hop
hop
kinda.
like diagonally at an object, you can stick to it.
Huh?
Yeah, that's it. Just keep on spamming jump, and all of a sudden you're like moving up this cliff face. And somehow I managed to hop over the cliff, and there was like this like a harpy that was like spitting fire or ice at me or something, and literally. It just wiped the floor with me in one hit, but it's because I'd hopped over this cliff. I don't think I was even supposed to be anywhere near the goddamn
not-
place.
Do you think it spawned the hobby just to annoy you?
Yeah, probably, because the PC version seems to be doing that a lot. Just all of a sudden, this random OP NPC just
Shit,
comes
he's
out of
gonna
nowhere.
be able to cross outside the level zone soon. Quick, spawn the most hardest
It's
level
like,
we can.
holy shit, he's gonna cure vampirism, kill him!
I don't really know why
I
they
just got a
did that.
vision of your character like going, ugh. Oh shit.
Gone.
I don't know why they made it so hard to get to certain areas that weren't high level or anything. It's just annoying trying to get to places in that
well,
game
just
sometimes.
follow the path, but
To
it's
be
so
honest,
hard to
be
follow
honest,
the
there's
path.
certain parts of places of
They
Skyrim
should have climbing.
where fast travel would be a blessing. I know you got I know you don't use it, but fast travel is a blessing. It's like I ain't
yeah,
trying to figure out my way
well,
up that cliff
when-
anymore.
When I first got fucked up on that vampirism thing, when I told you I went to the thieves' den and found that I couldn't use Soul Trap. I actually fast travelled. I saved before, but I then fast travelled to see like, well, can I buy another soul gem? Can I buy another black soul gem? Because if I can't, I'm literally stuck at the highest level of vampirism possible.
Both you are.
And it turns out I was literally fucked, which is what really caused me to rage quit. I was like, I can't do anything now. I can't wait. I can't go into cities. I can't do anything. It was ridiculous. But I want to know, for people listening, because you know some people have messaged me and said I did completely disagree with what you say about Skyrim. I said I'm not saying that everything in Skyrim is bad. Just there are some the scaling in it is fucking awful, and the bugs are atrocious. They've had.
I do love the game massively, but I do agree with a lot of the issues you have with it at the same time.
There are just so many problems with it.
I
Yeah.
think it's got to say, I think the trouble with the case of Bethesda is that because Oblivion was so buggy, and then when Sky, it's all like almost now expected they're going to be buggy, so people like I almost give Bethesda a free pass because they know it's going to be buggy.
Yeah.
But actual fact, you shouldn't be doing that, but because we've got used to it,
I
we
think
just all let it go through.
You would have thought though, after like 8 years and re-releasing it like a million times, they'd have patched out a few of the game-breaking things.
Mate, it takes such a long time to to recompile it for a different system. But at least you see that intern a whole day.
I know. I mean, they might one day have to praise that poor bastard for sitting there banging his head against the desk. But no, why do people like Skyrim? So we've got the modern community. We've got because I like going around reading the books and exploring. I hate the main story. I've got no interest in it at all. None of the characters. I don't remember any of the characters. I don't remember any of the city names. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I've seen 2 people get beheaded within like fucking 10 hours. You know, I've killed a ton of dragons. I don't give a shite. I laughed at a random jester roadside as his mother or something.
Oh, Cicero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He turns up later.
oh, does he?
I just love going off on an adventure now. I think.
Yeah, well,
finding a mine or a cave
I think
or
it's that Skyrim. If we first play it, like what Bethesda are good at are making those. Wow, I can just go anywhere and just find something interesting. They are quite good at filling a massive world with interesting stuff.
Kind
and
of interesting stuff.
kind of interesting. But compared to what you see a lot. They do quite a decent job of that. So there's that moment of I can just go anywhere, and you just and I don't think there aren't many people I think who unless you, I think a lot of people just literally when they start a game like Skyrim or Oblivion, they literally walk out and they go, sod the main quest. I'm just going to wander over there.
As a console player, Oblivion did blow me away because I'd never played anything like it.
Yeah.
For me,
That was a nice game. No, it was a nice game. It was
amazing.
nice world.
And then Fallout 3
when you
was
first
the same
walk out,
kind
when
of
you
thing.
first walk out the sewers and you just like into a massive open area, it's like I'm
It's
just gonna
gorgeous.
go over
Like,
there.
where can I go? What should I do?
And it looked amazing at the time. They really did a good job of
technically,
it.
it still kind of does.
Still, it has a certain charm to it. Yeah, the way it
rubber-faced and
yeah.
you know. They're not awful games, but when I say it's shit, it is literally just there's a huge bug, the scaling's really bad, or just something has really tainted it. Because like I said, my character has been over-encumbered more times than I can count just because I've been stealing books.
That is a bit of a titty, that over-encumbered thing.
Well, what's the dragon shout that makes you move fast?
I never really went...
The sprint. No, it's the second shout you learn. The first one is like...
Oh!
The first one's pushes
Yes.
everything, doesn't it?
So the first one's like three-star down and the other one is...
I can't remember.
It's like just a short distance sprint, but it's a shout.
Yeah.
Well, because I was over encumbered and I was miles away from anywhere, because this is before I bought the house, I was like, well, I'm just going to use my dragon shout just to move across the map.
I've done that.
There was no way I could move. And people were like, that is a very interesting thing to
Yeah,
use
I don't
that
think I've
shout
done that.
for.
I don't think I've done that.
Because I was carrying like double the possible weight.
Oh,
that
I know
my
the one you
character
mean. The
could
one
move
that
with.
just... You almost like leap forward,
Yeah,
don't you?
you dash.
Yeah,
like-
you get given
Yeah,
that
I
when
know.
you get to high guard.
I know the one you're on about. Yeah. I had a
Yeah, I
mind
just-
fart for a second there.
I think there's just the sort of feeling there's a whole world to explore. Was what I liked about it.
Didn't it have to recharge no shapes?
I like the fact as
Yeah,
well
so it
that
takes a while to do it that way.
it did also feel like a progression from like Oblivion.
Oh, yeah.
It's a massive leap both graphically and they
Well,
fixed
going
it
from
of course.
Morrowind to Oblivion was huge, so I
Yeah.
expected Skyrim to be quite a jump.
But yeah, I mean, it's not like say you compare like New Vegas to Fallout 3. There's not really much of a jump there, but Skyrim to Oblivion was a massive
Even
jump.
Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 isn't that big a leap. Not really. Not mass. You know.
I also
So then,
think
what can you really do with a wasteland?
Yeah, I suppose they could have. Yeah.
Because I mean, you got to admit, even if I say the game is shit, you get dropped into Skyrim, and as you're walking through some of the forests, you're just like, fucking hell, this is gorgeous.
yeah.
I mean, even on my ratty Linux, I mean, don't get me wrong, Skyrim's ancient, but even running it through Wine, and Steam Play, so playing the Windows version on Linux, that game looks gorgeous. I was like, yeah, mate, just put it on like ultra high, and just walking around, you're like, fuck me, man, this looks amazing.
I found 360
There's
looked
also
amazing. Now on
all
Pro,
the-
it's like PC on Max, according to things I've
Yeah,
read.
it's
So,
fucking like blows your mind.
you know, 4K.
I also think
native,
it helps when there's
lovely.
it also helps when there's a group of you people playing it and you go to see each other and say, cool, have you seen this yet? No. Have you found such and such? No. And everybody's,
another thing I love about it,
Everybody's
yeah.
got different experiences.
Yep.
I mean, once you put 100 hours in, you've probably seen it all. But there's a lot of little details in Skyrim, like, you know, on Oblivion as well. Like, there's a drug war in Oblivion that wanders from place to place to place. And you come across them, and you'll just come across them randomly. But they're not. They have actually got a little route. And Skyrim, so it's all the little details. Professor do put the details in, it's just they don't polish it enough.
No, there is that feeling of finding something you don't think anyone else has found.
So Professor games have a very much a feeling of ambitiousness.
Yes.
You know when you get like sort of like they make me think of like a school project where all the kids get involved. They all like they're also really interesting. They work really hard on.
Yeah.
But it's all the little bits that need to go together, which no one does.
Yeah.
And that's when it collapses a bit.
Yeah.
And that's what feels like Professor. They've got people who like doing the writing, got people like doing the sort of like little details and quests and all systems, but no one actually sits down and goes, right, okay, we've got to get this solid. Let's make this bit work. And to be fair, it's a very complicated game, so it's very hard.
It's huge. So I expect there to be, like Tom said, there's going to be bugs because of the size of it.
Yeah.
But the sheer number of them, the amount of quests that just don't trigger is ridiculous.
Yeah, the quest triggering is, in my view, unacceptable because that's something that you should have tested.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
The odd like bit where an NPC falls through a wall and so forth, you can't test every NPC on every single
Well, let's put it
surface,
this
so
way.
that's different.
When I dropped, so when I learnt that I could drop my soul gem to empty it, I kept trying to drop it on. So you know, as you leave the first major town after you get your dragon and shouts, as you're going towards the big mountain to see the greybeards, there's a tower, and this woman will tell you it's a toll road and it's a bandit. Have you guys must have seen that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right, so I was on the mountains at the back of that place. You have to cross the bridge after climbing the tower, right? It's practically a flat piece of land. But once I learnt that I could drop my soul gem to empty it, so that I could use it to absorb one of their human souls to cure my vampirism, I would drop the soul gem and it would just go whoop through the floor. It was solid for me, not the soul gem. And it did that on majority of the cliff.
I would imagine it's going to have something to do with collision detection. I'd imagine when you're dropping it, it's probably a case that the bounding box is probably already through it when it drops. So when it spawns it, because obviously it just spawns outside inventory, it's probably a case the bounding box is through the floor already, so it doesn't pick the collision up.
What ended up happening was I had to end up finding a perfectly flat piece of ground, otherwise it would just clip clean through the floor.
I bet, when you bring your inventory up, does the game pause when you bring your inventory up?
Yes.
I bet if you tried jumping and then mid-jump, open your inventory and drop it.
No, because it would just roll off the cliff or just clip through again.
Really?
I tried all of that. It just kept on falling through the floor.
Is it because they think if you drop something, you're not worried about it anymore, so they don't bother putting anything in the way?
It was just weird. It was like some places it would just fall through the floor, and other places it would just stay where it was.
It's something to do with collision detection.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just one of those things that was like, why didn't you check that? You know, even the fact that a soul gem will empty if you put it on the floor.
That might be by design, to be fair.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Don't know. We assume it's a bug, but it might be by design for some reason.
Yeah, it might
Or
shake
like
it
if you
out.
put it in a, even if you put it in a chest, it will just empty.
Maybe it fades over time. Maybe the soul just dies away.
Fucking that'd be great. That'd be kind of pointless trapping it. I want it for storage for later. But,
Yeah.
You know, it's just there are just so many little things that really grind on me. But the world is so gorgeous, and some of them books go into great detail about the history of the land and even history of individual characters. It's just like
They do a lot of work of stuff that some people will never see.
yeah, there are so many cool things I like about Skyrim, but Bethesda keep fucking with me.
Yeah.
The main story, like so many people are like, oh yeah, mate, Skyrim's a great game, but the story's shit. No, it's great. It's like, then tell me the main story. I'm like, oh, I can't because I modded it.
I quite like the war side where you either the Stormcloaks or the, the Imperials, like
Yeah.
I quite like that. I quite like
I
that.
like that.
side-
I also
side
like
of
how
stuff.
the game sort of reacted to it.
Yeah.
There's some neat. There's lots of neat stuff in Skyrim.
Yeah,
It's just it's very much a case of ambitiousness
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
being rushed. Like I said, if they had another year on it to just spend polishing,
I think I said that.
you did. I just said
No.
like you said.
Oh, I thought you said I
Yeah.
said.
No, I said like you said.
I said. Sorry.
Sorry.
I apologise.
Thank you. I mean, waved my hand in your direction, as you said.
Yeah.
If they spent a year more polishing it and, made it come out 12, 12, 12 instead of 11, 11, 11,
Yeah.
it made a big difference. And they've got the Christmas rush.
Yeah.
So, that's what we should
Yeah.
have done.
Maybe we should move on from.
Just know, again, if I say a game is shit, right, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, that means that you think it's the most awful thing ever. I was just like, no, it just means that there has to be one thing that breaks my experience.
Yeah.
Because it could have been really fucking
I have
good.
noticed that with you, but the vampirism thing is quite a big.
Oh, mate, that's so
Game
annoying.
breaker.
I will be going back to play it. Like, I want to read more stuff. I want to see more places that I haven't seen yet. Because I did that with Oblivion. I walked the entire map. I did the same thing with Morrowind. I walked the entire map. I just don't like Skyrim's story, and vampirism is... I'm just going to fucking bring someone's neck if another vampire comes within 20 foot of me. Although I might have rage quit by the next podcast because I can't cure vampirism again. We'll soon find out if that
Yeah,
quest can be
keep us up to
repeated.
date. Keep us up to date
I'll be sat, like, you'll come in next podcast and I'll be sat here rocking backwards and forwards.
with a cross,
Yes, like, get him away from me.
some garlic smell in the air.
But yeah, Skyrim, it's a shit game, but it's not awful.
Okay, then. So, Middlemeister's informed me that he has no game. Because he has no... Yes.
No, next.
But he has
next
got
time.
TV.
I do.
Oh, dear. You
I
got
do.
one of those, have you?
Yeah,
Cool,
I
what
got.
you watch?
Yeah, the Umbrella Academy, which is a Netflix show.
Oh, right, yeah.
Is it about... So, what's it got to do with umbrellas?
Netflix show?
Netflix
Is that
show.
on Prime?
No, Netflix.
It is Netflix.
Yeah, it's made by
Okay.
them, or funded by them, at least. So I will forewarn, if anyone watches superhero shows that are on Netflix where no one ever really uses their superpowers, you probably won't like most of this because it's a similar kind of thing. But what happens at the beginning is 42 children are born, all in Russia, I believe. I think that's all in Russia. But none of the women up to this point of the birth are pregnant. They just suddenly Goes
On the
with them.
day of the birth.
Yeah, on the day of the birth.
Convenient excuse.
All on the same day. It's just suddenly, you know, the one you see, she's a swimmer, like an athletic swimmer. She goes in the pool, and then suddenly the pool is full of blood. And this is I think this is the 80s where this happens, the 1980s.
Yeah, I remember him at the radio history class. You remember?
I don't think it's historically accurate. It's based on a Dark Horse comic series, comic books. And this old eccentric sort of billionaire tries to find as many of these children as he can and buy them, basically take them from their parents if anyone's willing to give up the child. Because it's not like two people have been married and they've had kids and then been pregnant for 9 months. So he's hoping that they don't have an attachment to them. He managed... Yeah, but they just suddenly poop, didn't they? They just suddenly, you know, pop out. But anyway, he...
Sounds like a trailer park.
Yeah, he manages to get... I think this is right. He manages to get 7 of them and sets up this place, this big sort of, you know, old house, and trains them all. He's a very unpleasant man, but he basically...
They always are.
Yeah, he's kind of a monster, really, but he gets each individual child and finds out what their strengths, what their powers may be, and slowly just tries to encourage them to explore their powers and basically forces them to. One of them can make you do anything that she wants by saying, I heard a rumour that, and then she gets you to do stuff by saying that. There's one...
It's a shitty Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, it's not great, but, you know... She's actually quite an interesting character as well. There's one who's more powerful than the others because he can travel through time and space.
7.
Yeah, sorry?
7.
7?
Was it 7?
I think it
Was
might...
it 5?
I think it was 5. I think 7 is the one that
Oh no, 7's the
doesn't have powers
musician.
early on.
7's a musician.
Yeah, yeah. Ellen Page in the... Is it Ellen Page? Yeah, the one in the TV version, obviously, anyway. And there's... Some of them don't really seem... There's one who seems to be very strong, but that's about all these powers seems to be. He ends up becoming kind of like a Batman kind of figure in his adult years. There's one who... The other sort of powers are a little bit more... One of them's dead from the beginning, like dies in the years between when he gets the kids to now, because you kind of... He dies, basically, the poor old fella, and they all meet at his funeral to sort of gather...
It's like good riddance.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much,
yeah.
in
Most
a
of
lot
them
of
do.
cases,
Most
yeah.
of them do say good riddance, and
Because
they
at some
kinda-
point they all broke away from the academy to get on with their lives.
yeah, pretty much all but one of them left him and hated him and resented him, and they all kind of left and thought, you know, never going to come back. And his funeral brought them all kind of back together. And there's one who can talk to the dead, which is how the character who did die is shown in the
Appears in
show, because he can talk to him and commune with him and sort of take his powers. And at some point early on, so we're about sort of spoilers too much, the guy who can travel through space and time travels into the future. He kind of does it to prove he can, because he's the old
The old
eccentric
man
billionaire
basically
says,
said,
don't
you dare.
yeah, don't do it, because you
You're
could
not
end up
ready."
anywhere and you could die, or your life could end up very, very, very bad. But he does it anyway because he's rebelling against the guy, and he
He's
goes.
a cocky ass.
Yeah, he jumps. Yeah, he's a terrible person. He jumps forward once, just kind of a couple of months into the summer. Then he jumps again into the winter. Then he jumps again, and everything's destroyed. Like the whole planet is just completely, just rubble, really. And there's nothing left. And he realizes it's the end of the world, but it's not. It's I think 8 days from where you currently are, from the funeral.
Yeah.
So he manages with great difficulty to travel back to that point of the funeral and warn them all that, you know,
So,
some
like,
bad
shit's
stuff
gonna
is
hit the
happening.
fan.
But they all kind of resent each other and the life they've had, so it's very hard to get them together. There's also this sinister organisation that's hunting them down because he used to work for them as I won't give too much away about that, but there's a shadowy organisation hunting them down anyway because of some shenanigans with his time travel-y stuff. But so I won't spoil too much of that. But I loved it pretty much from the start, and I did really enjoy it. It does that thing I enjoy where you'll have like the main story, but then it'll go off and do like a little side thing. It'll show something that happened in the past and do
Yeah.
like a nice little piece about that. And a great soundtrack. The mum in the series was a robot that the guy
Yeah.
built to try and he did it basically to help him manipulate the children, really. But
Pretty much.
but they warmed to her, and she is nice. She is a good character. She's quite,
We didn't finish
Quite
it.
likeable.
I started watching it, but we didn't.
I'll finish it. It really does get very, very strong towards the end. And there's also a very good-looking, technically, from a technical point of view, like monkey that lives in the house.
Yes.
And he's like, normally in TV...
He's the butler, isn't he?
Yeah, the guy made very, very, very smart, Futurama style. And he's like a really intelligent monkey, and he's basically the butler.
Design, the animation on that is.
It looks amazing, doesn't
Yeah,
it? Like
very
normally that stuff looks uncanny valley or terrible, but they did a bang up job of that.
Yeah. Well, they did with a lot of the effects in it. It looks very, very good.
Yeah, they've definitely haven't scrimped on it. There's a big budget to this show. You feel like quite a lot of money and smart people made the show.
There are going to be a couple of seasons, aren't there?
It's definitely going to be coming back after the end. Yeah. But it does a lot of that kind of stuff. Like on the moon, it starts out with one of the main characters being on the moon. He's been on there for years, and he gets like a message saying coming back. You kind of see them all receive the message of what's happened, and they all converse back on the house, and it's lovely. Very nicely filmed. There's a lot of good dialogue and character interaction. That works really well within the show. And they've got a good group of actors together as well, which always helps.
Who was your favourite character? Which was your favourite power? Which was the favourite character, the favourite power?
My favourite power, probably the guy who can travel through time and space, because that what you'd be good to do, isn't it? If it didn't,
Just say bye to Pitbull. She just left us.
Oh, bless. Take it easy, Pitbull.
So if you want suddenly to appear at like work or Alton Towers, you can suddenly just do it.
Did you find that character?
So I think
was he your favourite character?
I think he was my favourite character because I liked him as a character as well. Beyond like not just the powers.
Being an annoying little shit stain.
Yeah, the fact that he was like 58, but in a kid's body was really funny, and I did.
Some fucking my time, really. Isn't it?
Yeah, I also enjoyed the two villains that were hunting them down as well. They had a really good interaction as well, and they were like you didn't want them to kill any of the characters, but you didn't like hate them either. You didn't like.
I liked the two villains, but I can't remember what number he was. But the dude who could talk to the dead.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember his number, but just how fucking unlucky he is.
Yeah, I can understand why people wouldn't like him, but I did like him. But I can fully understand why he might rub people the wrong way.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. Like at some point you think to yourself, will you stop being such a whiny little bitch? But then when you realise that he was traumatised as a fucking child.
His dad threw him in a crypt.
No one
turned off the lights.
That he could see dead, and he just threw him in a crypt.
Yeah,
like, all like family ancestors and stuff like that. It's like, there you go, deal with them.
Plus the fact that, throughout his life after that, every time he closed his eyes, he could pretty much see the dead. And obviously he became a junkie because of all that horror. Mm-hmm. But his character does become more likeable throughout the show as well. He kind of starts to develop and becomes more determined to prove his worth.
Can I throw out there? It's funny because when Nick was talking about a war in another country, that's the first thing I thought of.
Oh yeah.
So
I like
that show. So it's funny that you're talking about it.
Mm. I like Ellen Page's character as well, even though she doesn't have powers. She's like early on. She's very you kind of really feel for her because she doesn't have powers. A lot of them they don't really shun her so much, but they ignore her.
She was so whiny though.
I didn't really mind her. I thought that was right.
I understand why she's whiny, but my God,
I found her very sad, but I didn't necessarily find her particularly whiny. But you would get annoyed, wouldn't you, if your whole life you were told you weren't special, you were pointless, you were just ordinary, completely ordinary, and you lived with all these people that had amazing powers and everything.
But she's very bitey at them for it.
Yeah.
Like, of all of the fucking resentful characters in that show, she is the most hardcore fucking vicious of the lot.
Yeah.
Like it's always like it seems like it's everyone else's fault other than hers that life isn't going how she wants it to.
Yeah, just wait if you watch it to the end though.
Yeah, sure.
She's but you do kind of understand more why she is that way. The more you see, like the more you see of how they were to her, and
stuff,
later and later on, that you see more and more of that. It wasn't actually a character I didn't really like in that show. I thought they did a really good job of all that kind of stuff, and I'd highly recommend it. I think, is it 8 episodes? Or was it? I can't remember. It was 8 or 10. No, I finished it, but I can't actually remember the end code. But it's highly recommended unless you like. You only want to see people doing superpower stuff because it's not really about that.
Yeah, as there's a bit more depth to it. Than
Yeah,
just,
it
like,
comes
pew
into
pew.
it, but if you want to see people flying around and shooting lasers out of their eyes, this isn't the show for you. But if you like detailed character work and quality dialogue and plenty of conflict and character growth, then this probably is more for you. And it's called the Umbrella Academy because the building he bought was originally an umbrella shop, and that was historically an umbrella sort of store. You see that's
An umbrella store.
yeah, it's all umbrellas. They do exist. That's where
They do exist.
this was in like
Please, sir,
1920s.
this is our new model of umbrella we have. As you know, it's got carbon fibre tips, so you can launch it even quicker.
Gorgeous building.
Yeah, beautiful sets and build. Yeah, a lot of that. It's very artistic, and when they
Mannequins.
when they do
Ice cream trucks.
when they do these little pieces, these little montages and sequences of the past, that works really well. And these little side jaunts to various parts of the character's past. So I always enjoy that kind of thing. I like that. I like that in a book when they take a massive divergent for like 20 minutes of
Give us a bit of backstory.
Yeah, and it's not afraid to take its time either. It's not let's get to the next exciting action sequence.
Well, sometimes you can't rush it though, because that's when you start fiddling around with key plot points.
Yeah,
You start taking liberties, and then when you start taking liberties, then that's just. I tend to get a little bit bitey with people who do that. It's like, oh well, we need to condense this entire story down to like, I don't know, 10 minutes, but it's like an hour's worth of a scene here. Let's take a few liberties with why they're here and how this ends, and let's call it a day.
I think being on Netflix helps because they don't have to worry about getting a certain number of viewers every week.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
To get people to watch next week, they'll.
It helps when you can binge stuff because you can sort of like will put more power to watch like a slower burn. I think when you can binge it.
Yeah, it's definitely good for that.
Yeah, I think those ones don't tend to last so well on TV because obviously you've got to try and
You have to be there on the day that it's going to come,
and you've got to hope that it'll pay off after 3 or 4 weeks, as it were.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's an afternoon, it's like it doesn't really matter too much, does it? So you can sort of binge it.
Yeah, and I think the episodes are an average about an hour.
Yeah.
Sort of 55, 57 minutes.
Yeah.
But I recommend people at least watch the first episode, see how they feel about it. And if you like the first episode, for me, it only kind of gets better, really. So if you watch the first one and you enjoy it, stick with it because I loved it.
Yep.
I think it is 10 episodes. But highly recommended for me because I liked it a great deal, really.
I'll give it a thumb up, and then I'll give it a double thumb up when I finish watching the series.
Yeah.
So
You won't be disappointed if you do finish it. You definitely should. Yeah.
I'll tell you where I am at the end of the podcast, and then you can tell me how far I've got left to go.
Okay, yeah. Cool, that's
Right.
The Umbrella Academy on Netflix.
Right, is there anything from anybody else?
Nope, that's it.
No.
Right then, thank you much for watching. I've been the TheSuffolkRam.
I've been Middlemeister.
Skazz.
As episode 10 over, we'll see you in a few weeks. If you've enjoyed this, please go to roundnerds.com and you can see posts about the podcast that we've already watched
Yes, please.
or listened to. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/roundnerds, which now works.
Fixed it.
It only took me a whole year to really like to actually switch it live.
That's why we ain't got no money.
I didn't realize I had to switch it live. I thought I just created it and it was working.
Ah,
We're on Twitter, but no one uses Twitter anymore. We're on Google Plus. That's nearly shut down, so there's no point signing up for an account now. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/roundnerds. I'm ready for the next data breach. But yeah, thanks very much. On also youtube.com/roundnerds and twitch.tv.com/roundnerds.
Fucking
yeah.
hell.
Find us on your phones as well.
Yeah,
Very easy.
download the Roundnerds app.
Yeah.
Available from the iTunes and Google Store.
Oh, I didn't realise we had a full-on app.
Yeah, we've got an app. Yeah, you've got all your various noises on there. You can play on command. Like,
Shit.
You hurt my feelings when you say stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
Really hurt me feelings.
Yeah, Skazz is like just, it's shit. Good job.
Fucking gay, mate. Alright.
Yeah, a few cunts in there, no doubt from you.
Fuckers. Cunt.
Yeah. So yeah, download that app.
Nia.
Soundboards are shit.
Nia?
It does does, yeah.
This
It does.
fucking turd, mate. It's the worst game ever.
What, 6 hours only?
So fuck, man.
Yeah. It is full of microtransactions.
Any idiots like that game?
Yeah.
Prick.
Gets very heated, the Neo one.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So see
Sorry.
you guys in a fortnight for episode 111.
Oh my god.
111.
Will I have gone more than a day?
Or
Clean a vampirism.
or episode 7.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
You won't.
111 is free in Roman